Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ProPokeBowl Season 4, Week number 2. My name is ProPokeBowl, thank you very much for joining me. Apparently, I did never fix that hotkey. Oh well, I look stupid now by hitting a button. How you guys doing tonight? Tonight we have 10 participants going at it. After Week 1 showing a lot of discrepancies between the playstyles, let's see if people can clean up their act as we get into Week number 2. Let's take a look at the standings. Where the hell are my buttons? There we go. Yay, look at that! In first place, there is a 4-way tie between the Swearosaurus, Suicunes, the Alaskan Araquanids, W. Wellington, and the Pichu Warriors, with the Okeechobee Tauros and the Kyuubi Destroyers drawing the center point of the standings, while the Boston Bearticks, Sock Power Sky Sharks, Stockton Thunderous, and Lanakila Conquerors look to make a name on the standings starting this week. Let's take a look at the Week 2 matchups. It will be starting off with the Boston Bearticks versus the Lanakila Conquerors, Coma versus Icy, as well as the Sock Power Sky Sharks versus the Pichu Warriors, the Sarasota Suicunes versus the Alaskan Araquanids, Kyuubi Destroyers versus W. Wellington, and the Stockton Thunderous versus the Okeechobee Tauros. Just as a reminder to everybody, in case that you have not been paying attention to the Newbits exchange, make sure that if you are a viewer and you want to use your Newbits that you earn either through just watching the channel, clicking my face on the screen, or gambling because you're good at it. Make sure you put those towards the teams that you want in the Twitch extension below at the bottom right-hand corner of my video player. The person who has the most points at the end of the season will be named the most valuable Pokemaster Award, which will be receiving a special prize. You can track that now down below the channel. If you look at the bottom of the channel, in the Pro Pokeball section, you can see the sheet that is keeping all of the points for us. Let's get right into this, ladies and gentlemen. It will be the Boston Bearticks versus the Lanakila Conquerors. Last week, we basically saw the tone for what's going to be going on in this tournament, and it definitely looks like there are a lot of good teams that are going to be going well with it. A couple of substitutions that actually happen while we wait for our participants to get into it. What the hell? That's still a thing, unfortunately. A couple substitutions just to make everybody aware. We have Swellow traded out for Florge on the side of the Pichu Warriors. We saw this happen last season with Lord Scrubbington and his team, where basically he saw an inherent weakness in his defensive core, ended up trading for a Bronzong, got the Bronzong, and suddenly his team looks so much stronger. I think that this is not necessarily an improvement to Michi's defensive core per se, but most times when you trade for something like this, you're going to be looking for something match by match, week by week, or he's going to be looking for another defensive Pokemon to solidify his core to make sure that he has an answer to most teams, if not all the teams, depending on what he's going to be doing with this. Florge is a fairly overlooked Pokemon. It's got very good special defense, has good special attack. The only thing that is really the drawaway from it, other than it being a Wish Pass or Combine user or Aromatherapy user, stuff like that, is the fact that it has no useful ability. So as a result, it ends up not doing anything with that type of thing. So we'll see what the Florge can do for the side of Michi W tonight. The other trade being the Kyuubi Destroyers traded out the Aggron for the Darmanitan. This was an interesting UU trade. Aggron has a good value when it comes down to putting a lot of pressure on other teams. You know, it's Heavy Slam plus this fact that it has Stealth Rock support and things like that makes it very difficult to deal with. But I think this is more of a trade for speed. I think he wanted just another fast sweeper who's going to be doing a lot of damage. I don't think Delphox is going to do as much as Darmanitan can do. So if he's already going with this many special attackers, I like this choice with the Darmanitan. Besides, he already has the Rhyperior if he wants some kind of Stealth Rock support. He's got that physical powerhouse that can take up hits with Solid Rock, hopefully Solid Rock, and then bring it down to the Darmanitan to be able to come in, bring a little bit of U-turn support as well as just smash things in the face with sheer force. While I wait, everybody, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us tonight for the Pro Pokeball. Definitely a fun thing to do. We are going to be taking a look at the Boston Bearticks versus Lanakila Conquerors. Both coming off with an 0-2, I believe, last weekend, right? Did I mess that up? I did not mess that up. Although Boston Bearticks looking very, very good against the predicted winner of the Season 4 just from the very beginning. Coma definitely put up a fantastic fight against the likes of Michi. Brought in that wonderful Azumarill that actually threw up some people off. So it's just to see what else she could bring with that and see if she can actually make her team work a little bit better this time. We did see some weaknesses in overall play, and most times you would argue that as much as she was keeping Mitch on his toes, it's more like she just delayed the inevitable, and there were some misplays that did lead to ultimately Michi just taking advantage of it and just going through the works with it. Lanakila Conquerors, we saw a slightly different situation. that Hawlucha definitely put the nail in the coffin and made it super, super difficult for him to actually do anything about it. So I'm curious to see if the Conquerors have cleaned up their movesets, actually have a better way to handle this, and see what happens if a Pokemon's not just going to sweep through his team, if he can actually do any work with it. So I'm excited to see this. I'm very, very curious because, again, we've seen a lot of these players in mock Pro Pokeballs, but we haven't really seen what they could do when they have the same team week by week. It definitely makes for some more interesting strategies that definitely can show through over time, but it can also label a particular team with how they're going to be doing things. So I don't see either of you in the health and fitness room. You need to be in the health and fitness room, man. Otherwise, it just throws everything off. Please make sure, of course, guys, we're just waiting on a couple of Pokepaste. We're waiting for Oxum's and Ivan's Pokepaste, and then they'll be able to battle, obviously. So Oxum has to get the and World Leader. Those three are the three Pokepastes we're waiting for. Sorry, Doodle, not Ivan. My bad. Sorry, Ivan. Oxum, World Leader, and Doodle. Those are the three Pokepastes we're waiting for, so they can battle. Sky Sharks have to get into me ASAP because they are battling second. So hopefully they can get that going. Usually we see about 1/3 through the tournament is when we're actually going to start determining who will be basically setting the tone for being in the top 6. Because unfortunately, since this is only a single round robin, any points in the beginning matters. So, did we repost it? Okay, perfect. Gaining as many points as possible is a thing, but of course going for top 6 can also help quite a bit. So nothing lost there. Hopefully things can be remedied with that. Why is that so small? Size 11. Let's wait for these guys to get going, and then we're going to be going into it. There are some very interesting names in the health and fitness room. Hey, World Leader! Thanks so much for the sub, man. Appreciate support. Welcome to being a fellow nooblet. You sent it in Discord. Perfect, thank you. Alright, we got this going. We just double check on these movesets and we'll be good to go for the most part. Whose is this? World Leaders. Just do a quick check here. Perfect. World Leaders is good to go. Yes, I'm well aware. Thank you, Gamma. I've got it. I'm gonna double check it for her. Sorry, just organizing everybody else's. Yeah, we know. And Subpower Sky Sharks. Show. Alrighty. You're not in the fitness room. Nobody's in the health and fitness room. Neither of you are in the health and fitness room. So I can't see the battle. Alright, Oxum is good to go. Perfect. Yeah, you guys have to join the room. You just go join health and fitness and you can do it. It's in the thing there. It shouldn't be too difficult to find. By the way, again, thank you very much for the 25 bits, man. Appreciate it. If you guys look at the top of your screen, you will see that there is a bit leaderboard added for you guys, so you guys can compete in bits and spend all your money to depend on me. That sounds like a good idea. Let's talk a little bit more about this matchup. I think what really happened was we didn't get to see the true potential of the Conquerors last week because they were really held down by the fact that Hawlucha just caused them so many issues game 1. But then we saw Project drop the Hawlucha. Was it Project? Who the hell had Hawlucha? No, sorry, it was Gamer. We saw Gamer drop the Hawlucha game number 2, and he struggled to try and win, which was weird because he fixed what wasn't broken. And as a result, it just made everything very difficult. So, but he still ended up winning in the end because it didn't seem like the Conquerors had much going for them. So really now, it will depend on if Coma doesn't have the answer to that, looking at Volcarona, but I think the Conquerors have a couple of answers to that, to at least check check a particular sweeper per se. But I don't want to see Icy get completely swept by it again. Where are you guys? Appreciate it, World Leader. Thanks, man. I don't even think I can post you to this. We're just waiting on a link to the battle, that's all. If you guys can't even join the fitness room, at least post the battle so we can start getting on with this. We do need to get going with it. Just as a side note, ladies and gentlemen, because of work schedule changes, Monday night streams will now be 9:30 to 1 a.m. rather than 8:30 to 12:30. Just to make it easier, we are going to shorten it to half an hour so I don't have to go to bed too late. Don't want to stream that late. So we're just going to make it 9:30 to 1. This is the Boston Bearticks versus the Lanakila Conquerors, which is not visible to you guys, so I'm trying to make sure that I can get it visible for you. We'll just go from there. I do have my line on deck to show you guys what battles will be going on. Make sure that the Pichu Warriors and Stock Power Sky Sharks are ready to go. Did you find the battles? Is Icy not here? What happened to Icy? Oh, Icy's not here! Oh, what happened to him? Oh, shoot. He might have dropped? Let's check. He's playing Minecraft. He is. Yeah, you're... Oh my god. He didn't know he's first, boys. He's coming. He's coming. Anyways, he's coming. Well, let's take a look at the... In the meantime, let's actually take a look at the teams here. I gotta stop doing that. That sucks. That's really strange why that does that. Let's actually take a look at what's going on with this. So, the problem last week was he didn't have a fighting resist. If we take a look at the Boston Bearticks, the worst thing that it could possibly deal with is the Infernape. Depending on what moveset that Infernape actually has, it could do a fair amount of work against the Lanakila Conquerors. Nihilego being one of the checks, if not the counters to both stabs. Although actually not the fighting stab, so it makes me a little concerned that he's going to have to deal with that somehow. But with maybe a well-placed something like a Scarfed Espeon, which would outspeed a Scarfed Infernape, that could be quite good for him. But otherwise, the Pidgeot might be something he has to rely on as long as it's not a Scarfed Infernape. But his team definitely showing that weakness to fighting, so we got to be very, very careful with that when trying to deal with it. On the side of the Lanakila Conquerors, though, what is the one-up that he has against this team? The team looks very scary on the side of the Boston Bearticks, but we saw that her Seismitoad was baited really well last week by Mitchie, and she kind of wasted that defensive opportunity. I feel like something like Pidgeot could do the same thing. Maybe even Kritra could eventually break through this fatter wall of Boston Beartix. There are a fair amount of Pokemon here that can take a hit or two, but if he's able to set up something like a Kritra, or even just get Mamoswine to get some decent shots in, like, I feel like a Choice Band Mamoswine would actually be pretty decent against this team. It has its double stab would actually do quite well against the majority of our Pokemon. Ice is one of the top weaknesses. I'm curious to see what would actually end up going on. Good call, Ivan. But I do feel like that Mamoswine and the Kingdra could be very key features here to try and help. Diancie would be good just because it could maybe take some hits, but I don't know if it actually get as much done as you'd think it would. I feel like it can do a lot of damage, but you need some prior damage onto it because there are a couple of threats like the Sceptile and the Azumarill that can kind of take a hit and then go back and just murder the Diancie. So I do think the Beartix draft-wise have the leg up because of that Infernape playing. If that Infernape is played well, it'll be okay. If the Lanakila Conquerors find a way to defensively handle that, similar to what happened with that Hawlucha, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. I do think, though, the Beartix have a one-up on this, just taking a look at the team comps. I think it's really going to come down to that Pidgeot play. If we do see the Pidgeot come out from Icy, that could do a decent amount, but I think there's going to be more. No problem, Icy. Just make sure you get into Showdown and click on the Health and Fitness room. We can get going right from there. There we go. I found the Boston Beartix in the Health and Fitness room. Generally speaking, Doodle, yeah, ground and I know what you're talking about. Offensively, ground and fighting have some very good coverage, similar to ice and electric, like Bolt Beam, that sort of thing. I don't know if you can necessarily compare the typings. It's kind of changed over time, but like anything right now that poops on Fairy would be the best. So that is what you're going to be looking towards. So let's see what these players can do here. Very, very curious to see how this is going to be going. Especially since we both saw these guys come off of a 2-0 loss last week. I want to see... It looked like the Boston Beartix looked much less lost in their loss than the Conquerors. So, and with the leg up in the team comps, I think that she actually has a chance to start taking some points here and start being with the big boys up in the top 6. Try and get those points going right now. That is the match. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It will be... What, my music? Why did that get ruined? Either way, it will be the Boston Beartix on the close side versus the Lanakila Conquerors, Icy, the coach, on the far side. Let's take a look at the comps. We do see the Infernape instantly added to the team. That's almost too easy to guess. But we also see the side of the Pidgeot, so definitely predicting the Pokemon that we both need to keep our eyes on. Also the Mamoswine to see how this match is going to move. Let's see what's going on here. We do see you have a Vikavolt versus the Mamoswine lead. Very interesting because Mamoswine can't actually go for the Earthquake here, but Vikavolt can go for a nice powerful Bug Buzz and try and threaten this thing as much as possible. Since it's a Bug Electric type, it won't actually take... It'll take a fair amount of damage from the ice, but he can definitely threaten... She can definitely threaten the Mamoswine quite a bit. She does end up making the move into the Seismitoad as we actually see a Stone Edge flying through. Very interesting that we didn't see an Icicle Crash just straight play. Seem to see Icy trying to make some extra predictions early on, but... How is that going to shape him? Now that we know that Stone Edge is on the Mamoswine and it's a Life Orb variant, now Icy can feel safe that this is not a Scarf variant, depending on what type of Infernape she's brought. If she brought Scarf as well, we might see it played a lot more religiously, but there's less of a guessing game. So either way, Seismitoad is in, it can threaten with Stealth Rock and can threaten with Scald. Let's see what goes on here. Right now, if we look at both team comps, we actually see the Rampardos coming out the side of the Boston Beartix, so... Fairly good team. I'm liking what Icy's actually brought tonight. And on the side of the Conquerors, sorry, what Coma brought tonight. On the side of the Conquerors here, definitely seeing nothing that's going to really answer that Infernape. The only thing I can honestly guess is that's going to be a Choice Scarf Espeon. That's really the only thing that can come in on whatever Infernape wants to do. So either way, we do see the Skull Burn come through onto the Snorlax. Last week we saw this was a Gluttony or Thick Fat Snorlax, so I wonder if he's changed his ways, seeing how much poison can actually hurt that and try and keep it a little bit safer this time. But How you doing, Suwako? Good to see you, man. But either way, at this point, Conquerors are definitely on the back foot as we actually see the curse still come out. Now, last week we questioned, is this a rest lax? Because it can be rest curse, and it can get rid of that burn. He can be good with it and just go straight body slam. I don't think the only ghost he has to worry about is the Delmise, which he does have the Pidgeot for, threatened with Hurricanes all day. Now, we do have to say, as much as you might not have many switch-ins, we can definitely see that even so, Pidgeot could still spam Hurricanes against that team. And only Rampardos is really going to want to take it. We do see the Z move come out, the Savage spin out, doing actually next to nothing as the Citrus Berry is used as another curse is actually set up. And with the burn even on that Volcarona Body Slam, that's not too bad for the side of the Conquerors if you're hoping for a little bit. We do see the Quiver Dance come through. I think this is a bit premature as this thing can go for the rest, but at the same time, it's taking a fair amount of damage. And I think, honestly, this is not bad. If he has Rest Talk on this, this has Sleep Talk, this could do a lot of damage to the side of Coma. He does not end up showing it, though, so at this point he might just stall it out. I would think it'd be in Coma's best interest to Quiver Dance there, just start getting set up, try and get it through, but he does end up going for the Sleep Talk that time, scores it, baits her, 100% bait, takes out the Volcarona. That's one threat eliminated by the Fat Boy. Snorlax showing much more value in this match than we saw last week, so that's a pretty good one. This is most certainly an immunity, or a gluttony. It wasn't actually, was it a gluttony? I think it was a gluttony, Snorlax. Usually Citrus does pop a little bit earlier, so I think it is immunity. Not if it's going to be running this moveset, and he is not carrying Crunch. He is stuck with a Curselax. So that's important information for Coma to know for Game 2, that Delmise straight counters this Snorlax. But at the same time, Conquerors knowing that, maybe they could play a little around that. I feel like there could be some mind games going on between these two, but at the same time, we'll have to see if they're actually able to do that. Snorlax standing out here, I feel like Delmise is the only play. The other thing that Coma could just do is come in and try and kill it, not trying to risk this thing, trying to go back to rest, get back to full health, and wait for Delmise to be killed. The Infernape comes in, instantly puts some pressure down. Says, we don't want anything answering this. She knows that she gets a free, basically close combat on anything. Even the Galvantula is not going to like it. Might even be able to two-shot after rocks, but the close combat does come through. Icy knows he just has to let this thing die. It's done its job, took out the Volcarona, and now it's the Infernape facing the Conquerors. As the Espeon does come out, this makes me suspect that it is Choice Scarf, which is base 110 speed versus base 108 speed on that Infernape. So no matter what, Espeon will always outspeed as long as they are both plus speed natures and have full EV investment. And I think Psychic should one-shot the Infernape. So she is going to make the switch into Rampardos. It does come out. It is going to end up taking a Psyshock. That's so much damage. This thing's not going to get anything done. It's pretty much a sack at this point. But either way, Psyshock is going to come through, takes out the Rampardos. Now, here's the other thing that actually I didn't really look at. Nothing on the side of the Beartics want to take this either. I think Volcarona or Vikavolt are going to be really the only... I mean, then again, we do have the Delmise that can just come in now, go for the Shadow Claw, but she opts for the Seismitoad. Psyshock, maybe being a defensive mon, she'll be able to take the hits a little bit better, try and go for some Scalds. But Delmise is sitting right there, can threaten with Shadow Claw. If this Espeon dies, Infernape just has a free time killing everything. Because rocks are up. Maybe it doesn't one-shot everything, but... I mean... bait out a little bit of stuff. The Vigabolt's alive maybe for the Pidgeot. I don't know, though. I don't actually know. I think, again, the Sidesword has to stay safe to try and threaten damage on that Pidgeot, because it is a Scarfed Infernape. That basically outspeeds, and if you get damage on the Pidgeot, Infernape wins. With close combat. It literally just wins. This Espeon has to be taken out, though, and let's see how she's going to actually answer that. I think Delmise was the correct play here. Delmise is fat enough to be able to take hits, maybe just threaten. It should one-shot from that range. If not, Shadow Sneak can't come through with that Shadow Claw. We usually, I think, see Triple Stab with Shadow Sneak? Or Swords Dance, Triple Stab, that type of thing. Triple Stab because it has Steel Worker, which gives it Stab Boost on Steel moves. Which is not really going to help here. Maybe against the Mammoth Swine, but this thing is going to come out now as the Scald does come through. That is a bunch of damage. That is one Pokemon that would not have taken a close combat well, and it's not going to take it now, as this Sizero is actually going to get value. We could see a Freeze Dry from this thing, but it is just going to be the Icicle Crash. That does a lot of damage if this was a defensive Mon, and he does get the flinch. That's important, because now what he could do is actually spam Icicle Crash, take this thing out, and Icy's in a good spot to bring in Mega Pidgeot and start testing to see if that Infernape is actually Scarfed or not. But he ends up going to the flinch. I do agree with the Icicle Crash, though, because the flinch was the best thing he could have done. Earthquake not being the thing. Gotta go for the kill if you're gonna make a move like this. Or sorry, you gotta go for the hacks if you're gonna make a move like this. There's no reason to go for the Earthquake on the off chance you saw. I mean, really, you could just waste abilities here and there, right? If Vikavolt had come in, the Levitate would have ruined it, but then again, he also would have lost Life Orb damage. So either way, he does get the flinch. It works out in his favor. If that was Freeze Dry on this thing, that would have been fantastic. But it is not. It does enough, though. Icicle Crash drops again. It is going to be a 1-for-1. That ends up working out in the favor of Icy, though. The more he can get that Pidgeot in position, the better. If that's not to Scarfed Infernape, I think Pidgeot just wins now. Honestly. Even then, if he sends in... Okay, let's put it this way. Boston Beartix have to go into the Infernape. They have to threaten with Infernape. The reason being, if it doesn't and Galvantula gets a Sticky Web up, Icy wins. Because this Vikavolt already took damage. No, it did not. Never mind. It didn't take any damage. I'm an idiot. Didn't take damage, which means he could threaten it. So basically, all he has to do is get damage off on that Vikavolt, threaten with Sticky Web, and he wins. But the Vikavolt is going to be the thing that comes in, which prevents the Pidgeot from being able to do anything, which would have just been free rock damage, which would have been really bad for Icy. So well played by the Conquerors to make sure he could try and get something damage here. But here's the thing. I don't care if Espeon dies at this point. If he gets damage down and then Sticky Web, this can just be GG if he outspeeds that Infernape. And Infernape does not kill. This game could very well, it just comes down to the sweepers on both ends. They just gotta play around it, try and get the damage down. I think Icy does have the advantage, mainly because he has his Espeon, which is making the Beartix question, is this faster than Infernape? Because if this is faster than Infernape, then you have the Pidgeot for the likes of the Delmise, and neither of its stab moves of Grass or Steel are going to be able to one-shot it. So let's see what's actually going to be going on. Psyshock comes through. That is a bunch of damage as the Bug Buzz is going to take out the Espeon. So relying on the Pidgeot sweep, it looks like, as the Pidgeot is now going to come in. It's going to Mega up base 123 speed. If Infernape outspeeds, he has to go back to the drawing board and figure out what to do for game number 2, because that will be the end of the conquering. Here we go. The Mega Pidgeot comes out, goes for the Heat Wave, gets the kill. It could have gone for Heat Wave. Hurricane, I think, actually... Hurricane would have done the same amount as Heat Wave. So, Hurricane just the play to make there, but Infernape is now going to come in. Let's see who outspeeds who. If it hits, it will never miss because it's no guard, which means Stone Edge, if this is Scarfed, Stone Edge will kill the Mega Pidgeot. And it won't miss because of the no guard on the likes of the Mega Pidgeot. Here we go. It comes down to this. Whoever basically comes out of this alive wins, and it actually will be Icy. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not a Scarfed Infernape. The threat for the Conquerors are down. It's seeming safe for the likes of the Lanakila Conquerors, as he is going to take his first win in the Pro Pokeball. GG. And that felt a lot better for the likes of, that felt a lot better for the likes of Icy from what we saw in the practice places. I definitely think there was some lost value because that Hawlucha basically wrecked him. But here's the thing, here's another situation where Infernape, look how much value that Infernape had if it was Scarfed, but it cannot be Scarfed this week. And it's not built as Scarfed this week. So what ends up happening is... he actually now has to. We now have to be concerned for the Beartix. If Infernape is not sweeping everything on the side of the side of the Beartix, what can the Conquerors abuse and what can Coma not abuse? Right? The fact that that thing is so important and she doesn't have any type of sticky web support that I see here. How does she get that set up? Well, she has to bring something to take down that Pidgeot. Looking at her team, there are a couple of things she could do depending on if that Azumarill is like Assault Vest, stuff like that. I don't know. Things can take hits, but I really do think that Icy got the prior damage that he needed to do, used that Espeon effectively, and now here's the thing. Since that's not Scarfed, if he's max speed on his Espeon, it doesn't matter if he's Scarfed anymore. Now Icy knows he has both the Espeon and the Pidgeot to kill off the Beartix Infernape. So he's in a good spot. He's actually feeling completely safe. So I think he's going to be really, really good going into game number 2. And it's going to be up to the Bearticks to bring something like their Dragalge or something of the sort, which can not do well against the Espeon. So I think that this Pidgeot Espeon thing might be a little bit of a stretch to handle on the side of the Boston Bearticks. So let's see what they can do in game number 2 when they get into it. Very interesting. Definitely seeing a different level of play. There were some situations where certain steps could have been taken on the side of the Bearticks to skip and not take as much damage in certain situations. The one being where the Dhelmise did not come in on the side of the Snorlax, because all you have to do is, even if it went for the sleep, right? You know that's going to be stuck. You could take the damage on the Infernape, because the Infernape's not taking damage anyways. All you have to do is force a switch and try and double switch on that Snorlax. That's pretty much it. So if she could put that kind of pressure down on that, that's all you have to do. Project, thank you much for the 10 bits in total, friend. Thank you. So I think a little bit of better play with not wasting so much HP and stuff. Again, that Seismitoad feels like it didn't do what it could have done, right? It could have handled... it wasn't going to be able to handle the Snorlax because, Restock Snorlax is just going to be too difficult for anything once that thing starts setting up with Curse. But the Dhelmise could just come in every single time, and now that Boston Bearticks know that even Heat Wave one-shots the Dhelmise, which actually surprises me. That surprises me slightly. I didn't think it would, but it did. But then again, if I'm assuming that Hurricane will kill... Actually, no, Hurricane would be even stronger. It's 360, so... I'm actually surprised that one-shot. But now she knows that the Dhelmise has to be for that Snorlax, and can't let that happen again. Especially losing Volcarona like that. You can't let that happen. It's just not going to work out in your favor, so... Coma, you have another battle! Where are you going? God damn it. Coma, you have 2 battles. It's a series of 2. You have 2 battles, Coma. You have 2 battles. Yeah, she's making you wait, I see. Either way, though, I do like that. I think definitely in terms of movesets, we see a big cleanup on the side of the Conquerors, especially. We liked relatively the movesets on the side of the Boston Bearticks. They seem pretty standard here, too. We haven't seen anything ridiculous to an extent. She's coming, Diego. No, she's streaming. I just have to let her know when it's her turn. So she's already aware she's up soon. She's actually live if you want to go see her. But either way, let's see what they could do in game number 2. Courtesy of Nathan Smith for the music, but the Boston Bearticks are not up 1-0. It is Icy who is up 1-0, and let's see what the Boston Bearticks can do enabling to try and staunch the flow, get at least 1 point under her belt when it comes down to this. Let's see what we see. We see the Clefable coming out this time, which is a very nice check to the Pidgeot. Can definitely take a lot more hits and just start threatening with Moonblasts. Again, all she has to do is just keep wearing it down, get it to switch out on rocks, and then the Pidgeot's handled. We see the Espeon. Espeon, same thing, but it is Psyshock, so if that Clefable is especially defensive, it's going to have some problems tanking up the hits. Either way, we see the Mamoswine versus the Infernape. So now, we see the Infernape coming through. And it's going to go just straight close combat. Testing the speed, I guess? But either way, we know it's not Scarfed. And the Mamoswine is just going to be taken down. No value from that. Very interesting that... Well, I guess Icy saw that there was nothing else really to do to take the hit. Didn't want to risk anything like a Flare Blitz, and just ends up letting it die to the close combat. But this is not bad. The Espeon can now threaten it. Honestly, that Mamoswine did not really do much for Icy to begin with. So now this does put some pressure now on the Beartix to switch, and we'll definitely see what damage is going to be happening on that Clefable or Seismitoad. This is a definite indicator. Psyshock is also going to handle Quiver Dance, Volcarona, so now it's on Beartix. Not necessarily something's going to die, but something will take damage, and here does come the Psyshock. That is a 2-shot. Is this Specs? Dude, that's so much damage. That's actually a lot of damage coming out from an Espeon. That's gotta be Specs. That's a Seismitoad. That thing has respectable defense. Cheapers. Alright, so Specs Psyshock, that's gonna be a problem for it, but on the bright side here, this is not switching into a Psyshock, so even unless Icy gets a crit, this thing can actually threaten with Head Smash and kill it off, which I don't think is in the best interest of Icy, knowing that he can outspeed with the Espeon. This is his backup to handle that Infernape. We also note that the Diancie is on the team over... I pay attention. Anyways, over something. The Snorlax is now going to come out as the Crunch does come through. It is going to take up the hit damage. Now, this is the nice thing about Snorlax. The Delmise is gone, which means this thing can try and go for something, but he makes the smart play. God bless, goes for the Body Slam, gets the damage down on the Infernape. It doesn't really matter. The Paralysis would have been beautiful for Icy, so that is the best move he could do. But knowing that the Infernape will most likely try and switch in and try and kill off Coma, he's now just going to be able to maybe leave this in. We say, we got the damage down, Espeon can come back in, keep taking your Pokemon. We'll go for blows 1 for 1, and just keep going from there. Close combat does end up coming through, does sack it off. Well played by Icy. And again, the Espeon just comes in. This is all he has to do. He has control with the fact that this Espeon outspeeds the Infernape, so she has to keep switching and taking hits. Can the Clefable take the hit? Holy crap! I think this is just over because of Espeon! Wow! No matter what she does, she can threaten with Volcarona, hoping to God it doesn't die, and threaten with Bug Buzz, but this thing is killing every wall. Yeah, the Rampardos comes back in. We know it's about 87% damage. He can just keep switching. He can go into even Diancie at this point, knowing the Crunch is most likely coming through, which would then be in the best interest for the Beartix to go for Head Smash, because it's just going to do so much damage no matter what it hits. But that Clefable did not take it at all, which means it might have been specially defensive? I don't know, but either way, it died. And Head Smash just comes one through. Ooh, a one-shot. This is just Pokemon dying left and right. We like to watch these once in a while. But either way, the Rampardos is going to get the value and just get the kill. But now, I think, well, she does have a bit of a value here. This does most likely have Focus Sash, so it could just threaten to hit the thing. Just go for the very, very safe... Wait a minute. And it's Mold Breaker. Right, it doesn't have Head Smash. Oh, wow, okay. Never mind. It doesn't have Rock Head on? Either way, Energy Ball does come through, kills it off. Forgot this thing got Energy Ball. Kills off the Rampardos, and I think Espeon is good to go as long as that Vigavolt takes some damage. Setting up a Quiver Dance here is not going to matter because it is a Psyshock coming out, although the speed up will guarantee that it'll outspeed and kill with at least a +1. So maybe this is a much better position now for the likes of the Beartix, now that the Volcarona is in safely, can set up and just start killing everything. I wonder if a +1 Flamethrower can kill a Mega Pidgeot. It doesn't get that, it doesn't get many defensive stats upon Mega, so maybe Volcarona could just set up one here and sweep. Although this thing does have its Sash, so most likely it has Sash. We don't see a Balloon this time. We do see a Focus Sash on the Galvantula, most likely. Mainly because we don't see a Life Orb Rico, so unless it's Specs, this thing could have Sash. This is why the Beartix are probably thinking it through, going, if he has Sash, do I have to attack first before setting up? The answer is yes. Unless you plan to get a 10% burn with the Flamethrower, you're not going to get that lucky. Don't assume that. It doesn't get Rockhead. I'm sorry. I keep thinking of Tyrantrum. My bad. Why the hell would you even pick Rampardos then? Stupid. Either way, Volt Switch is going to come through. Does end up getting a little bit of damage. That confirms it's also not Specs. As now the Pidgeot is going to come in. This is kind of risky, but it will now be outsped no matter what. It can go for the +1. I guess this is going to confirm my theory of whether or not +1 Flamethrower will kill a Mega Pidgeot. I'm pretty sure a Hurricane will kill from here, though. As we do see this thing go through, Pidgeot is destroyed. Which is bad, and now that it's actually outspeeding, it's all up to that Galvantula. And I don't think it's going to be able to do enough damage in one shot to take it out. I think the Beartix just sweep at this point. Is he brought down to the Sash? Does he get the burn? Does not matter. Because Thunder comes through, has to get the paralysis. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Oh! And, ladies and gentlemen, Pokemon has happened. That's I think that's game, right? Does he? No, he doesn't one-shot Vikavolt, so he has to hope for the para here. Or a higher roll. Doesn't get the higher roll. Doesn't get the para. He does not. So the Galvantula is down, but I think the Vikavolt's at full health, which means that Beartix may have taken their first point in the series, in this tournament, right now. He is going to take it out because he outspeeds, but here's the thing. Can Vikavolt take the hit? I think the answer is no. Or, no, sorry. The answer is yes. He can threaten with just straight up killing. Yeah, takes it perfectly fine. Goes for the Bug Buzz. And ladies and gentlemen, both people walking away with a point. Boston Beartix take game number 2. GG. One day I will learn that Rampardos does not get Rockhead. Today is not that day. Well, definitely have to say there was a much better setup there for the likes of the Beartix to make that type of thing work. In the end, does end up taking the point, but so does Lanakila Conquers, breaking through that one Pokemon, sweeping his entire thing. We get to see him have a lot more action this week, which is fantastic, because then we get to see more battles come out from this guy. Phenomenal work by both players this week. I definitely do think that there is some situations to clean up with, but really, if we take a look at the Conquerors, he took Togedemaru off, which wasn't going to do anything. That's what it was. Took out Togedemaru, brought in the Diancie, but the Diancie got no value. And it makes you question, are you going to fall for hindsight and say Chestnut? Because Chestnut wasn't going to do anything against the Volcarona, but if you need something for that Rampardos, he got stuck in that. Maybe Snorlax was supposed to be the answer? He didn't really have much else, and definitely Diancie did not answer that head smash, so... Regardless, they both end up taking a point for each other, so that's going to be good for them to start moving up in the ranks. Just going to let Oxum know she is up. Oh, she's already in here, but she should know. Here we go. So either way, that's going to be good for them, and you know what? I think that even, let's put it this way, Beartix still looking okay, definitely shaky, not necessarily bringing the movesets that needed to be brought to abuse the fact that this Infernape could just sweep through the likes of the Lanakila Conquerors, but kudos to the Conquerors to actually bringing more moves, like more variety of movesets that are actually going to make work for him, right? I don't like to insult choices on movesets per se that can make sense. I mean, there's things where you go like Balloon on a Galvantula, why, right? There are particular reasons for certain things, but I do think that it needs to be used in a very, very specific time that makes sense. So that's usually a lot of challenges for a lot of players when they're trying to break through that Smogon mentality, right? When you're trying to bring out these things and say, do I want this balloon today, and do I actually need it? And most times you won't find those types of situations on particular Pokemon that just can only be run one way. And if I look at the side of the Lanakila Conquerors, most of these things run one way, which is perfectly fine. That's not a weakness to the team. I think that's a very good situation for the Conquerors to be in, because that means that if he does end up using the unilinear... Unilinear? Yeah. The unilateral? What the hell is it called? Either way, if he uses the one way that he can use all these Pokemon, he has a fairly strong team. And I get that, Icy, but again, it's the value of Focus Sash on something like Galvantula. Just to give you an example, right? Galvantula is one of those Pokemon where the Focus Sash will help you stop the ground types, not the air balloon, right? You already have the Energy Ball, so the Energy Ball will wreck, and if you take the hit, you're perfect. So, Unicycle, definitely not. But either way, are we getting into the battle already? Good thing we have nothing to say about one of the... What did you do? He just got wrecked before he did anything. But either way, guys, give me a couple of minutes. We're going to get something set up, and then we'll be into our second match tonight, which will be the Pichu Warriors versus Stock Powered Sky Sharks. You are watching the Pro Pokeball Season 4, week number 2. They're already in this. We're not taking a break. Ha! Just kidding. Transition! Transitions! Jesus. Either way, here we go. Where are they? Pichu Warriors. Bing! Well, here we go. We haven't reset their scores yet, so here we go. That's kind of cool. Well, let's see what's going to end up happening with this, though. It will be the Sock-powered Sky Sharks versus the Pichu Warriors. Oxum on the close side versus Pichu Warriors on the far side. Just to go over the quick history of both these teams, Oxum is an extremely aggressive player. As a result, brings out very aggressive team builds. And Michi, we've seen him play very, very cool. And very calm and collected, very balanced. This man knows how he wants to do it. He takes more of an offensive approach when it comes to that trifecta of Diego, Mitch, and Tyler. So let's see what's going on here. We'll be a Mew versus a Weavile lead. This is a great lead for Oxum, actually. This Mew does not want to risk staying in here unless it's got something to kill it. But let's see what's going to be going here. Knockoff most likely going to be flying through. Look at the side of Pichu Warriors. That's an extremely bulky team with just Tyrantrum and Sharpedo sitting there. So definitely looking to maybe take a lot of hits and try and just sweep with the likes of the Sharpedo. But we do actually end up seeing a Cobra Berry come through, followed by an Aura Sphere. Straight read on that Weavile. Maybe expecting to even find a Choice Band, but instead finds Life Orb. That's phenomenal for the Pichu Warriors, because that thing is gone. And, you know, honestly, looking at it, Weavile doesn't really do much against the Pichu Warriors, except like Tyrantrum and Mew, so, and a Slowking. But either way, it is gone. He doesn't have to worry about it. The Heatran is going to come in on the Mega Houndoom as the Dark Pulse comes through. Does very, very little damage. We do see it is a Mega Houndoom. Now, no Sunergy unless this thing is carrying Sunny Day itself. So Solar Power is not going to be active. So I'm kind of curious what this Mega Houndoom is going to do. Look at the side of Oxum's team. It is definitely aggressive set with that single wall in the form of Donphan, which has brought issues for her before. She has been able to get wins off of it, but also brought very issues. But she definitely just knows she is the type of player where she just rams face. She just rams her face into the other team, hoping that it works. Sometimes it does, most times it doesn't. But Slowking is going to come out, has basically resists for both stabs from the side of Keldeo, so this is not really going to be getting anything done for her. I expect something like oh wow, never mind, we see a substitute come through? It's not going to be enough to break the Horse Shark, so maybe this is Subcom Mind, try and set up on this thing. Yeah, it is going to be Subcom Mind. Very interesting moves to set choice here, because Psychic is going to come through. Now, it's not Psyshock, but even so, Keldeo's not that fat, so Calm Mind's not going to resist that much. We haven't really seen a move. We haven't really seen something on this, so most likely an Assault Vest on that Slowking just with Regenerator, as Psychic is going to get the crit. I don't think it would have mattered either way because, you know, two Psychics, one Psychic. Secret Sword's not going to be doing anything, especially at especially at +1. The low kick would be good, Ivan, but then the problem is it's just going to be difficult because if she starts out speeding, the Ice Shard's not going to do anything to the Sharpedo. So regardless, the Weavile is managed, and now this Crunch is going to come through, not do enough damage, as the Psychic's going to do a fair amount of damage to the Feraligatr. As the Flourish can now come in. What? Oh wow, my game just completely glitched out there. That was interesting. The Flourish, it does very little damage. Now, Moonblast might be able to kill from here. Flourish does have a respectable special attack. You know what confused me, Ivan? I was under the impression that it would have been a Choice Band Weavile. It was Life Orb, so Low Kick was very viable to sweep. But then she also has to deal with the Flourish, which can one-shot most likely with Moonblast. That's why, as threatening as it looks, if it's managed, that's why probably Mitch has brought so many walls to just kind of, you know, do well, and then a couple of things that handle the Weavile, because that's really the threat that he had to worry about here. But the Mega Houndoom's going to come through, the Moonblast comes through, does a lot of damage, and gets a special attack drop. I don't even know what this Mega Houndoom would have done against this, because, unless it's physical, yeah, Fire Blast comes through, but it's especially defensive Pokemon, as now it's just going to Calm Mind in her face! Uh-oh. Now, this could be a couple of things. Sometimes you can run dual attacks on this, but most times you're going to see, I think, just Wish, Calm Mind with the Moonblast, and I think Aromatherapy to handle itself. So, Fire Blast comes through, it goes for the Nasty Blast, not going to get anything done, and the +2 will kill it off. Flourish feeling pretty good right now. You could see Feraligatr come in, go for the Waterfall, try and get the flinch, although it is Sheer Force, so it won't be able to get the flinch. So just try and get as much damage down. I think it'll just barely live from a Life Orb boosted Waterfall. Houndoom does get Sludge Bomb? Interesting. But she didn't end up going for it, so I don't think it's there. Either way, I don't know what just happened, but Mew switched in and okay, Feraligatr went for Liquidation. Sorry, it's no longer Waterfall, it's Liquidation. Didn't get, Feralmilo died, then he switched into Mew. That's weird, it's been bugging. Maybe that's the glitch they were talking about. Either way, The Will-O-Wisp is now going to come down onto the Donphan as a softball. It ends up coming through, and Stealth Rock does get dropped. That Stealth Rock's a bit late, though, because it's Thunderous Tea against the rest of that team. I think it's just over. This is just basically over. That Earthquake's going to go through. Absolutely nothing. Oxum not getting the Face Smash, Two-Face, Smork Strat. That's what she is. She's a Smork Strat. Yeah, that's basically it. He keeps safe. Definitely not falling for that Mew game number 2. I hope not. But either way, this thing is going to eventually die. He keeps it perfectly safe. Kills off the Donphan, and it's Thunderous Tea against the world. And there's still a lot of Pokemon that can take all of these things hits, no matter how many Nasty Plots she goes for. It actually ends up being Agility. Interesting. Is that Double Dance? Is it like Agility Nasty Plot type of thing? Agili-Nasty? Nah, it's not gonna be enough. And Psychic is gonna take it out, ladies and gentlemen, in clean fashion. Pichu takes game number 1. I don't know. You might have a lot of questions about what move to use, and you might know a lot more about the movesets than I do, Ivan. But I think that just points out, no matter what, we didn't see it come out, and it didn't happen, so... Might be a bit problematic here for Oxum. Definitely that huge defensive line that the Pichu Warriors have built for themselves. And, of course, that Colbur Berry getting the Game 1 cheese. Don't think she's falling for that again. But we do question the Weavile. I mean, the Weavile could have gotten a lot done, and hopefully it'll get a lot more done now. And it's true, it's got the low kick and stuff like that. We know now it's Life Orb. But how far can this thing actually go to take out that team? The Florge, I think, is going to be the pretty hard one for her to take it out. There could be the Sludge Bomb on that Mega Houndoom, which might not be there. The Metagross might be pretty necessary at this point. So that never got changed. That's okay. But the rest of her team... Forge doesn't really do much except, again, DD for Alligator. You can't do much of that except with a DD for Alligator, if that's a DD for Alligator. We didn't see the Dragon Dance come out. Nothing else really hurts it. Maybe the Metagross, and that's pretty much it. But now that we know that's a Combine Metagross, I don't think there's going to be an HP Fire on that, but let's see. If he knows that the Metagross is coming, he has something like the Slowking. So, really, his defensive core is near perfect against Oxum's Face Smashing. So, Ludicolo might get some value done, but no, it won't, because then her team is kind of thrown off with the fact that she has a Mega Houndoom onto it. So maybe she switches up just the Pokemon that are going with it. I don't think the Houndoom is going to do it, though. I definitely feel like if you're going to go for something, she has to figure out how to break through that Florge and get that Weavile a lot more value, which should definitely happen, hopefully in game number 2, because she's not falling for that turn 1 Colbur Berry play. Hard one to read, but that's when you see those types of things come out, because it's for a specific Pokemon, a specific strat that you will see. And just on paper, I haven't even said, on paper, it does look like the likes of Weavile could do a lot of damage to Mitchie's team. But he's already ready for it, just completely takes out the standard play and says, Aura Sphere, Colbur Berry, I no longer have to worry about that threat. So now we'll see what the Sky Sharks can go for. I actually think that Mitchie's pretty safe to do with what he's got. If he's really worried about... I mean, he's already got the answer with Slowking for the Metagross. I don't think he has to switch anything. I do think that he'll have to just play slightly differently, knowing that that knockoff is not probably going to fly through turn 1. Now knowing there's also Aura Sphere on that, that could be an opportunity for her to see that, okay, there's Aura Sphere, there's most likely Psychic, there's Will-O-Wisp, and Soft Boiled. So... something like Heal Bell is not on the team. Can she abuse that is a different question. Will she abuse it is an easy answer, and that's no. She usually doesn't play with these defensive toxic stalling Pokemon. She just rams face. So this really does favor a moveset like this on Mew, because it's just not going to be doing anything, and he knows he can just send in the proper wall, 1 of 4, by the way, and just basically wall up the proper hit. And we saw this even in last season that Oxen played in, where her strategy only worked against the teams that did not have the resists. So as a result, this is going to be one of those situations where it looks just like her last battle, where basically you get to see next to no value. But here we go. Pichu Warriors up 1-0. Can he make it another 2 and go up with 6 points in the series? The first one to hit 6 points, by the way. Or the sock-powered Sky Shark shove a sock in my mouth and say, "Shut up, noob. I can do what I want." She does end up bringing the Metagross, which I definitely think is an okay play. But again, she's got to get through that Slowking. What is for Slowking? That Weavile. How does she protect the Weavile? We'll see what her other 4 Pokemon can do. But either way, it comes down to this. She's going to have to make a slightly different play on turn 1 because that Mew could just easily lead again. And he doesn't have to be worried. But the Houndoom actually does make the lead, and the Tyrantrum also comes out. So this is good for the Pichu Warriors, instantly having that kill pressure, whereas Mega Houndoom doesn't. It definitely does not. She could try and go for a bunch of flinches with Dark Pulse, but Tyrantrum can go for, well, you know, Head Smash and just kill it off. This is the Pokemon that has Rockhead. I'm right now. Metagross does come in. Head Smash does end up missing. So, decent switch for Oxen, but even better, she takes no damage on this thing. So now, Slowking is most likely coming in. Soaks up everything that you're going to want to see from this. But there you go. It's going to take the damage. That Earthquake does next to nothing. This Thunder Punch! Shoutouts to World Leader as the Skull comes through. If he gets a burn, it's going to be great, but he doesn't. That's actually a fair amount of damage to the Slowking, but it does have a Regenerator. He can easily switch out. Sees that it's both Earthquake and T-Punch. What other Pokemon can really take this? Something like Mew can come in, and that's exactly what he's going to switch into. He can take the hits well enough, especially knowing that he could probably expect another Thunder Punch. Oxum not reading that he would try and switch this to get the Regenerator boost. He definitely wouldn't sack off the Slowking, though, because he knows it's very valuable, because if he loses the Slowking, Metagross makes up for what Weavile can't do. And losing the Slowking just leaves one more opportunity for the Weavile to feel even safer, because, you know, as silly as it might seem, the Slowking can block the low kick when he tries to send in something like Sharpedo Tyrantrum or Heatran. Either way, though, Thunderous T coming in, definitely a good switch here because it will be good against the Will-O-Wisp. Not going to matter much here. As the T-Bolt comes through, it's going to take a fair amount of damage, so Mitchie's going to allow this to go through just in exchange to get a lot of damage on the Thunderous T, so it doesn't end up doing as much as she would probably like. The Flourish can now come in, though, especially defensive. Even so, that is a 1/3 of the health. That's not too bad for her, but it's not enough. And as this thing is just going to slowly be chipped away with Burn, she's going to have to come up with something else, as we actually see the Metagross flash in and take the Moonblast. This is much better switching on the side of the Sock-powered Sky Sharks. So this is very, very interesting. You can block nicknames at the top, Ox. I hope you know that. But either way, the Slowking's going to have to come in. It'll be at about 60%. Will Ox predict to maybe go for a Thunder Punch? I don't know if it's worth it. The Mew can also come in and just be this fodder, in case he doesn't want to risk it, but he is going to send in the Heatran instead, as he doesn't expect an Earthquake to fly through as the as the Thunderous T comes in. Interesting. I'm getting glitches here. One moment, guys. Can I not change that right now? I guess not. I'm going to make this easy for us. There we go. All-out pummeling takes out the Heatran. Unexpected, but well done for her. The Heatran is gone. That's a good move for her. This thing has instantly gotten its value by taking it out. As the Tyrantrum could now come in, knowing that probably have to hit a Focus Blast. Does Focus Blast kill from this range? Not with Paper, probably not without a Life Orb. So probably feeling safe, can just go for a safe Crunch or something like that, take this thing out, or even go for Head Smash. Just start threatening, maybe with a Choice Band build. But with the Heatran gone, Low Kick not as necessary, and also means that Mega Houndoom actually gets slightly more things going in. We now see I had to switch this because apparently certain Pokemon bug out in Chrome. So, is able to take the Head Smash decent enough. We see the Slowking come through as the Secret Sword is not going to do anything. So we keep seeing these trades, but because Oxum keeps getting that valuable trade or switch in, she's not abusing double switches here. She's not trying to gain the advantage. She's just kind of answering what she sees in front of her, which means that Mitchie, as good as that might work still once in a while, the problem is you still need to be able to put pressure down. Now, the Psychic is going to be used. The Houndoom does come in, tanks it up, can go for the Mega, threatened out. But the question is, if Flourish is going to come in, do we see the Sludge Bomb finally? Is it actually on the moveset? Which would be the good move here. Flourish is going to come in. Mitch wants to test it, as a Nasty Plot actually ends up coming through. A lot of unfortunate things are being bugged out, but that's okay. Milo Doom is actually going to do something. +2. Whoa! Comes really close to killing as a Light Screen. Wow, it's dual screen. Interesting. With leftovers. Okay, maybe it's just straight Flourish, or maybe just straight, what's it called? Maybe it's just straight Combined, Moonblast, Dual Screen, but we do see the Dark Pulse break through that light screen with +2, kill off the floor, which was really low anyways. Now the question is, what does he actually do? Sharpedo can come in. Yep. Get the +1 speed. Wow, a lot of things are being bugged out right now. That sucks. Sharpedo comes in. Could go for the Protect. Get the +1 speed boost. Which I would think then she just goes for Nasty Plot and gets the +4. But then she won't be able to outspeed, and she will be probably destroyed by the likes of a Waterfall. But either way, he is going to get the speed. Now he can just go for another speed if he really wants to. But I think he'll just be safe with going into the Mega Sharpedo. I think he can still go for +2 speed. He doesn't have to be in a rush. Bullet Punch wouldn't kill either, but the Slowking can just come back in. That's a fair amount of damage it has to tank, which is actually doing slightly more than the Regenerator, and because there's no leftovers on this, he's not actually healing off everything. Ooh, but a High Roll comes through, and Slowking is taken down. The Ox has just flipped everything on the side of Mitch. This is extremely... I don't know. There seems to be... From one 6-0 to another, I'm confused as to how Mitch is just kind of rolling over with this, but he's getting predicted and he's just not getting anything done with this team anymore. Earthquake comes through, he's missing. He's not going to be able to do it. As now this thing can just try and go for damage with the likes of Focus Blast, ends up hitting it on the Mew, but is not enough to kill. It will be able to heal up. No, it won't. My bad. It's Cobra Berry. But it does mean that he has to hit a T-Bolt, which is not going to be any issue. And he's basically reduced Pichu Warriors down to his last two with a full roster. I'm confused with what's going on right now. Maybe Tyrantrum has something along the lines of Stealth Rock, but I'm so confused with what happened. All of a sudden, there's just this instant reality where Metagross comes in, but I don't even think it's the Metagross. I think just the play becomes suddenly better. As the Frogger is going to make his switch in, as we do see the Outrage. Never mind, it was the Outrage that killed... I'm confused with what's happening. Outrage did miss. Things are just getting bugged out. This is weird. They're having this issue. Just going to do that. Either way, though, the Outrage is going to kill off a couple of Pokemon here. It did kill off the Thunderous T, but then also kill off the Feraligatr. He is now confused, which is lucky for him. He's not locked into it. The Metagross can come back in, but it's going to be the Weavile just trying to get the Super Sweep here, which it most likely can do. It is Life Orb, though, so Mitchie feels safe just trying to get the speed boost up here and trying to get through with it. I disabled gifts for Chrome 64 bugs. That's fine. The Glow Kick comes through. He's going to get the +1 speed. Knowing that this thing is Life Orb, he might be able to kill with a Waterfall. He is going to go for it. Here he goes. Will the Waterfall kill? I can't actually tell because it's bugging out. Oh, God. Oh, wow. This is bugging out hard, boys. Wow. Wow. Uh-oh. I can't see it. Psychic Fangs comes through as he's just starting to sweep through the team. Nice bug, team. Nice bug, boys. Either way, we are having some bug issues here. No big deal, though. He's going to come through with a crunch, is able to kill it off, and it's going to come down to the Mega Houndoom. That's basically it. He reverse sweeps with it. Holy crap. And it turns out, it doesn't matter. I forgot about Psychic Fangs. GG. It's a 2-0 for Mitch. I forgot this thing legitimately got Psychic Fangs. That makes it much better, actually, because now it has something else to crunch down with that thing. But, well done by Mitch. Just pulls it out and says, hey, by the way, you have nothing for us. And the entire time I'm sitting there going, what does he have? I don't know where I got confused with what was going on. I guess because she never got to set up and that Weavile was going to be taken out in one shot, but yeah, just ends up sweeping through her here. So let's get the score down here. Finds the damage just enough that he needs to take them all out. Nope, that's the other way around. Haha. I'm kidding. He's just able to reverse sweep with it. But either way, he's going to maintain that pressure and basically, oh god, does it every single time. Yeah, just able to sweep it. I mean, there were a couple things that I made a mistake there with. The low kick would be really good, and then she had exactly what that was going with. But at the same time, the Psychic Fangs on that actually makes it so that we see the, I got this. Psychic Fangs didn't matter. Oh, sorry, it was for... No, Psychic Fangs did not matter. It kind of reminds me of last week, Diego. He looks like he's losing, and he just has that easy sweep with the Sharpedo, so... Just not enough on the side of Ox to actually take that hit. And you know what? Again, this is what I hearken to, despite the fact expecting something to take a hit. One, it's Sharpedo. Second of all, the thing is, this is the strategy that she goes with, right? She tanks up the hit, she tries to just go face, and it was working, but then there's that one Pokemon that just outspeeds, and because you don't have defensive Pokemon to try and throw it off, all of a sudden, it's kaput. She's got nothing for it, and there's no speed setup. There was the agility on the Thunderous T, but it wasn't set up, nor was it alive to actually get anything done. So, in the end, he just gets the value through, right? Even if that Thunderous had gone through +2, he could have tried to go for the... no, actually, if that Thunderous T was alive, he might have been able to pull it out, even with the +1 speed, but never mind. Hey, Marie! By the way, 9-month subscription. Thank you very much for being a Noob Mug Noobs friend. Good to see you. You haven't missed much. We're just into battle number 2 tonight. We just finished it between the Pichu Warriors and Stock Powered Sky Sharks. Pichu Warriors taking a 2-0 on the week. Showing that, I mean, he knows his damage calcs. He knows he can do it. I don't know. I don't know, Diego. Haven't seen those matchups in a while, but now we know for next time that those Pokemon just can't take the hit. But that's the first battle for Ox this season. What do we think? It looked a hell of a lot better in game number 2. But my question is, as good as it looks, we even see that, you know, Michi is just basically letting his team die and knows he can sweep with Sharpedo, gets the damage off, and he's good to go. But in the end, is that build good enough? Is that strat good enough? 11 offensive Pokemon, or 10 offensive Pokemon, and a hit, or, you know, 9 offensive Pokemon, let's go with, and a Hitmontop, Donphan, and Gligar. Is that going to be enough for her to do much in the rest of the weeks? We'll have to see. But for now, guys, I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, we will have W. Wellington versus the QB Destroyers, and then on deck will be the Alaskan Araquanids versus the Sarasota Suicunes. You are watching the Pro Pokeball Season 4. Now, we will be right back. Alright guys, we are back for game number 3 between W Wellington and the QB Destroyers. Let's take a look at these teams. Last week we didn't get to see Ivan play, but we did get to see the QB Destroyers play. And unfortunately, did not get the result that they wanted, if I just check really quickly. If it's a 2-0, then I'm going to be looking completely stupid. No, they got the 1-1. That was a very interesting one that led to a lot of weird coincidences where when we saw something along the lines of Sarasota Suikun's lead sweeping with the Halucha, then changing it up and still ending up winning, didn't happen the same way with Darkness and Project last week. Project brought out a very good Game 1 Trick Room set, and then all of a sudden, the QB Destroyers say, well, oh sorry, Project goes, well, let me just change a P2 for the Jellison, and Darkness instantly jumps on that and starts wrecking him. And now he's going up against Ivan. So we see abusable strategy from Project, but can he do that against Ivan? We didn't see Ivan battle week 1. He got his free 2-0 against Oxum. Now, we look at Ivan's team and we say this is definitely a Wellington team. This is exactly how Ivan wants to play. He has his power threats. He has his strong defensive core. He has fire, water, grass in here. He's got everything he wants and more, and he's looking at a fairly solid team comp that he can play around with. And this man is known for the innovations on his movesets, but makes it actually work. And this is why when I see something on a moveset and it's not Ivan, but then I see Ivan, and I always remember that Chlorophyll, Ancient Power, slightly special attack invested Tangrowth coming in against a Mega Charizard Y. These are the types of situations he plans for, but they are situations that make sense. Very similar to the Colbur Berry on the Mew for the likes of Mitch with the Aura Sphere, right? These types of situations bring him into the upper echelon of battling for the likes of Ivan, right? The only thing is, we see most times if Ivan is going to lose a match, it is to decisions in-game. Not so much the team building. His team building does quite well, but he can make those decisions with those movesets and make them work. So now I'm really excited to see if Ivan can start making a name for himself in this particular season and start taking a much more dominant beginning to the season, unlike what we've seen in the past. But I guess we'll get to see that right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not that one. It is this one. QB Destroyers on the far side, W Wellington on the close side. Let's see what's going to be going here. Unfortunately, it looks like most of these Pokemon are bugged. We can't use animations because it keeps bugging it out. It's really weird. I don't know what Chrome 64 bug is. I looked at it before it didn't end up happening, but it is going to be a Starmie versus the Rhyperior. Hopefully these things will actually be going well, so. Ivan is evil. Thanks, Doodle. Okay, so this is a good lead for the Wellington. It's going to be very interesting to take a look at the QB Destroyer side here because you got some good moves there in terms of defensive core. You got the Milotic and the Rhyperior. But the thing is, we actually see a Flame Orb. Oh, so self-procced Marvel Scale, which actually do well against the Psyshock with Aqua. What the hell? Okay. So, based on how much the Psyshock's doing, he's have to get either Ivan's gonna have to do a higher roll, which may or may not be possible. But if we see Aqua Ring recover, this thing could go for a lot of stalling here. The thing is, this thing is most likely carrying Natural Cure, so if it's got Natural Cure, doing anything to it wouldn't matter because Switch Out doesn't matter anyways because Psyshock gets a crit, so we'll never actually know. But interesting, Flame Orb Marvel Scale Milotic. Haven't seen that in a while. Sometimes we see Fling with it as well. But either way, Bolt Seed's going to come through against this Tangrowth, which is going to be able to take pretty much anything that Cinccino had ended up going for, even the likes of Tail Whip. Or sorry, Tail Slap wouldn't have done anything. It would have had to been the U-turn that would have did any type of damage to it. And there you go, as you can see, it's any type of damage. But good to note that it is Rocky Helmet, so anything that would come out, even for the likes of Tail Slap, would have did tons of damage. And that's good prediction on the side of Ivan, because he knows that that's the Pokemon's going to be coming in that heavily punishes Skill Link Cinccino. Rhydon's going to come in as the... Bulk Up Darmanitan. This is stuff we've seen from Darkness before. Let's see if we can actually make it work. It's kind of like the offensive setup version of Oxum, but instead the Earthquake's going to come through, takes it up, not even half damage, and this thing is taken down. As the Togekiss now comes in. Can go for Aura Sphere. Don't think it's enough to kill from this range. Let's see. It's not enough, as it's probably a Stone Edge is coming through. Stone Edge comes through. Almost kills it off, but at least Togekiss is going to be moving faster, which means it can't even put pressure on the Rhydon. He's just going to let the Rhydon die off. He knows that's done his job. He doesn't have enough HP to take the like of Cinccino or even Crobat on. He has that Tangrowth. Actually, Tangrowth looking quite good here once Togekiss is gone, because then there's not really much other than Brave Bird to do a lot to the Tangrowth. That's a lot of recoil. As the Glalie now comes in, is going to be faster, can go for the probably Mega Glalie, and just go for the return and start doing a bunch of damages. It's going to be looking pretty good right now for Ivan, just taking a dominant lead. That Milotic getting nothing done, Darmanitan getting nothing done. Now Cinccino comes in, but I don't think this thing... it does outspeed the Mega Glalie. Can it kill with Tail Slap? Probably, but Tangrowth can just come in, and U-Turn comes out. Smart play by Darkness, making sure he's not going to take a ton of Rocky Helmet damage for basically nothing. As Crobat now is going to come in, try and at least threaten this thing by taking damage, but, I mean, Reuniclus is still healthy. What? Sky Attack Power Herb. Is this Acrobatics? This thing might have Acrobatics on it. Oh. It's... Hey guys, look! It's the poison version of Hawlucha! Except getting absolutely nothing done on the Reuniclus as it just goes for recover. It just basically says, yeah, all the damage you did, by the way, gone, and I'm just gonna do this to you. Oof. The moveset's just not working out for Darkness, but looking cool while doing it. Is he now going to bring in the Rhyperior? Hopefully he can take things a little bit better. The Trick Room actually coming out now for the side of Ivan, saying, hey, remember week 1? I've got this too. And funnily enough, I almost feel like that could be an analytic. Knowing Ivan, that could be analytic Starmie to synergize with Trick Room, since he would be moving second since he's faster than most things. I could actually see that coming out from Ivan. That would be interesting. But nonetheless... Hawlucha will always be the more powerful Sky Attack user, but let's... So these types of movesets could be doing decently, but the problem is Ivan has so many Pokemon that can just say, okay, and just basically move on and just destroy him as a kind of an inferior set here. As Shadow Claw being on Rhyperior. Now, funnily enough, Earthquake still does more damage than super effective Shadow Claw. Base 100 with stabs 150. Shadow Claw only doing 140 with super effective, and Tangrowth is not going to be touched. As a result of that, he might have the Mega Horn, which could do a decent amount of damage, but Sleep Powder comes through. Ivan knows he's safe enough to do it. He can just go for Giga Drain at this point. There's no reason to over-predict. He's got tons of pressure here. He could even switch into... he does have... does have the knockoff, which would have actually killed off this Crobat. This Crobat is not able to switch in, so he's going to go in for the Rock Polish, trying to sweep this thing through, but Giga Drain is just going to kill it, and again, the crit is going to matter. We can't tell if it's Solid Rock in that situation. It's just going to heal it off. And Cinccino comes in. This is curtains. Tangrowth once again being that beast for the likes of Ivan. It's really just such an annoying Pokemon. And it turns out this Cinccino is actually going to kill itself on a helmet. Rock Hazard indeed. Should have brought his own helmet. He's going to be taken out there, and he's going to get flinched regardless. Gets him. Final act saying King's Rock because I can. And Crobat versus the world is just not going to work. Game number 1. Handily going over to W Wellington. This team is just so, expertly built, but they're just so strong to take basically anything that Darkness had prepared. Cross Poison comes through. It's doing next to nothing. Psyshock comes out, and ladies and gentlemen, game number 1 to W Wellington. Welp, GG. That's all I can say. And really, one has to question. Is it just the movesets? Is it just luck? Or is Ivan literally just carrying a team that says anything that Darkness even ran would just be not effective enough, right? I don't think... Darmanitan could do a lot of damage, let's be honest. Like, anything like a Flare Blitz will take out that Tangrowth for the most part, do a lot of damage to it anyways, but that's a lot of recoil damage, plus Rocky Helmet and stuff like that. We may have to see Mega come out. We may have to see that get through here, because that'll be able to hit on the special side. I don't think the Crobat's going to do it. I don't think the Milotic's going to do it. I don't think... I don't know. It's tough to call, because when you see that literally Reuniclus plus Tangrowth is there... I don't know. I mean, Ivan, again, we always said that Ivan drafts himself better and better every time, and this is just a beastly draft for him, and it looks so good. Even with, arguably, there's not even an issue with the way that he played in any way, right? The only thing that we can say is W. Wellington's up 1-0, and he's looking strong. His team looking great. He's actually bringing out the Salazzle this time. I don't know if he had it in the last one, but either way, QB Destroyers looking to try and do something different here with bringing out Blossom, Goodra, Shuckle, Delphox, and Yanmega while maintaining that Darmanitan. Interesting. Now, he did run an offensive Blossom last week. Let's see if we can actually get more value here. Believe it or not, Blossom, if it's Quiver Dance, I could actually do a fair amount of damage. Honestly, it's kind of weird, but Yanmega could do a fair amount here. There's a lot of things that could do a fair amount, but he still needs to be able to get through the likes of the Starmie, get through the likes of the Reuniclus, and actually get some stuff done. Now with Salazzle, I don't know. I think Salazzle is not the most defensive Pokemon, so it can't just take that many hits. It'll probably be decent against the Delphox. Not sure about the Darmanitan. It also depends on what he's running, right? Sometimes you can run Specs. I think you can run Life Orb and Specs. That's the one that I've really heard of, because you go Life Orb with the Nasty Plot. So let's see what he can actually tank up here. The Rhydon's going to be fairly decent for a while if the Blossom doesn't get a hold of it. Goodra can run a fair amount of different moves, so it could definitely... be different when it comes down to, you know, if the Blossom is kept safe and try and handle the Rhydon, not much can really punch that Rhydon well. You go Superpower, but then you saw that Earthquake's just a one-shot, doesn't matter. But either way, we do see the Shuckle versus the Starmie. Starmie just being a safe lead once again. Even if it was up against a Goodra, for example, it's not going to get anything done. Ooh! Z-move wasted on the side of W. Wellington. Just spams it out there knowing that even Blossom's not going to want to take it. But if Goodra had come in there, that would have been horrible. And that's a Z-move gone on the side of W. Wellington. Don't necessarily agree with that. Not necessarily having to look to kill that Shuckle turn 1. I don't think it's necessary. On top of that, doesn't Shuckle get Sturdy? I think. Oh my god, I can't remember. Either way, if it has Sturdy, it's not even going to kill through. But he's going to end up going for the... Ooh, Power Herb Solar Beam. Now, that was, I think, on his last week's moveset as well, but it's not going to get any values. It's actually quad resisted by Salazzle, but even as you can see, that did a fair amount of damage. For quad resist, from a Blossom. We'll take it. Blossom needs some kind of love anyways. But either way, we do see Hermione, the Delphox, come out, as Flamethrower is going to do next to nothing to the Delphox. That might be... That's definitely not Specs. It's not Life Orb either. What is he running on that Salazzle? And then, what is Delphox running that took the hits so well? It could be on either side here. But we are going to see the Starmie come back in. Very standard here. Psychic's not going to be doing a lot, but it actually does enough for the Destroyers to feel decent enough to get out of here now, as the Starmie, even though it can't go for the Hydro Vortex, just basically one-shot almost anything, it could just get out and be feeling okay. He's going to end up going to the Goodra, which is the nice play against this. Wow, that's a blast from the past. Thunder Wave Starmie. Interesting. So he gets the Para on the Goodra. Not ideal, but it's going to mean something, as the T-Bolt does come through, does something to Tangrowth, but it's not going to do anything to Tangrowth. He does have to be careful this thing does not have Sap Sifter, but he can check it right now, and it does end up being Gooey, as he does get the knockoff on the Assault Vest. So Fire Blast unfortunately ends up missing. That would have been nice for the Destroyers, but Pokemon's being Pokemon actually just stops him from doing that much damage to the Tangrowth. Don't think it would kill, especially with Assault Vest, but it'd bring it quite low. So Rhydon can now come in as the Para comes through. The only thing he has to worry about is something like Surf, as the Dragon Pulse actually comes out. Does about a third of the health. Does actually exactly 1/3 of his health. Now the question here, as nothing is dropped, is what is the side of Darkness actually going to do to the rest of this? He's getting slightly more value here with the Goodra. The Goodra's doing a little bit better for him. I think it puts more danger on the side of Ivan, where he can't just, what's it called? Why is this so loose? Interesting. It does put more thought on the side of Ivan, mainly because his Tangrowth is more threatened and stuff like this, but the Gooey is going to not really matter, but that Ice Punch can do a lot of damage. He gets double para. That just sucks. Double para with this thing together. Not in a row, but still. Not being able to get that damage off. We don't see anything like Surf or Aqua Tail coming out from Goodra, so it's not necessarily the pressure we want to see. As the Shuckle comes in, takes it, but because of the rocks, 2 Earthquakes will finish this thing off before it can get anything done like Sticky Web. So unfortunately, Shuckle has been dealt with. So now, what does this play from here? Shuckle wasn't going to get much going on. It is going to be the Yanmega coming out, but ooh, I don't like the fact that he's got an even number. That could be an even HP number, which means 2 Stealth Rock Switches could be horrible. But let's see what this Yanmega actually wants to do against this. Giga Drain should kill if he's Life Orb? Should. Like, I don't see why not. It's quad, super effective. He actually ends up risking it with Tailwind and just gets punched to death. I mean, it's safe for him to go for the Ice Punch instead of maybe Stone Edge or Rock Blast, whichever one he ends up carrying on his Rhydon. But Darmanitan can now come in. It will be faster already, so the Tailwind being, like, not meaningful. Flare Blitz comes out. Maybe Darkness is doing 2 battles at once and he's mixing up what move he's supposed to be using on which Pokemon. But either way, maybe predicts that... I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what he'd actually predict there. Maybe try and do more damage with it. I'm not exactly sure. But either way, we do see the Moonblast come out. Does get the freeze on the Blossom. Ivan's looking nice and safe right now. His team is just not falling. He's got that bulk. He's got the power. He basically has everything he needs to take out Darkness, and it's looking like an easy 2-0 for him here this week. On his first week of battling officially, he's just going to be going up to the top of the echelons with a smooth 6 points. And by the way, just in case Koma is watching the VODs, the way that it works is a 2-0 is 3 points for the winner, a 1-1 is 1 point for both participants. Skull's going to come out, take out the Delphox. It's going to be Gooey versus the world, and it's just not going to matter. He's too low of health, he's paralyzed, he's outsped. And ladies and gentlemen, Wellington takes a 2-0 on the week. I love that transition. Usually that doesn't always work, so I'm really happy that the transition happened. Oh yeah, this wonderful song. I forgot I left this on here. But let's... So let's just pause and see what actually was working there for the side of Darkness, right? You could definitely, we don't need to talk about Ivan. You could definitely just see it's straight power and straight synergy with his team that just comes out on top. And it looks more obvious for Ivan than for Mitchie, because both times that Mitchie has won, it may look like he's on the fence, but then all of a sudden he knows that he's won the game simply with sweeping with Sharpedo or something else like that, right? But with Ivan, it's more about turn by turn he is dominating with his team comp, right? And for the side of the Destroyers, the unique stuff is just not getting the value on his teams, right? So as much as he wants to bring out the damage and do a lot of work and actually get stuff done, it's just not happening. And as a result, it's leading to, you know, simple points here and there, showing moments of brilliance, but then just not getting the play. These types of things actually take a lot more complex play to actually get the value out of that moveset. So if he wants to keep running his moveset, he really has to read his opponent to see what exactly he wants to do. Ivan did not do anything fancy in that game, really. There were very little extra switches to handle stuff, and in the end, I really don't think that those movesets are going to be for a particular Pokemon or get certain value out of it. He's got to make sure that he's built it enough to officially get the value out of these movesets. I feel like I just rambled on there because I lost my thought halfway. Basically, Darkness is going to play as complex. He's got to know what he's playing against to make those moves complex. I don't think every moveset can be that complex. He might just be having fun with it, and I completely respect that. But it does also mean that we can't really give credit to Ivan other than just bringing a super strong draft, and he's just easy cleanup for him. So, that's going to be it. Dogfood941, thanks so much for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, Ivan just playing it out standard. He's going to take it. Up next, it is going to be... I lost it. It will be the Alaskan Araquanids versus the Sarasota Suicunes, and then the last match of the night, which will be the Stockton Thunderous versus the Okeechobee Taurus. We'll be back in a couple minutes, guys. Thank you very much for watching. You are watching the Pro Pokeball Season 4. Back in a couple minutes. We are back. Thank you very much for your patience, guys. So the ProPokeBowl Season 4, Week number 2. We're getting into the battle between Alaskan Araquanids and the Sarasota Suicunes. Suicunes find a 2-0 last week. Alaskan Araquanids, not so much. Definitely getting beat in the Weather War, the Sand... or what the hell am I saying? No, you beat the Sand. I'm a moron. They both did 2-0s. I know my own tournament. Anyways, these are both guys coming off a win with 3 points apiece, winning the Weather War with his reign against the Sand, showing some very good builds and just showing some very overall standard play, and just essentially showing that he has not fallen out of favor when it comes to battling Pokemon. And on the side of Gamer, just seeing the good times roll between what he did with the mock pro Pokeballs, and it's just showing that he can build himself a nice team and just get some stuff done. Although we do have to question about what ended up happening with switching that Hawlucha out between Game 1 and Game 2 and making the game much closer than possible. We did say last week, something like that can be punished by arguably better players, right? You can't just leave that to be, and because it was so close because of the good play by his last opponent, can it actually be punished by who we already know to be a good opponent in Doodle-Umper? So it's going to come to that, and we'll see if he can actually get anything done with it. Where are you, Alaska? God dang it. Either way, Doodle finally did the thing at the right time. He's dead, that's why. Get a memento. Wait for it. Wait for it. Okay, we're in. We're in, here we go. Now for the interesting music. Sarasota Suicunes on the close side. The Alaskan Araquanids on the far side. Let's see what's going to be going on with this. We see a Klinklang and a Leafeon on the side of Sarasota Suicunes. And we see a bunch of power plus that Alolan Muck, which is equal power, which we didn't get to see last week on the far side. Let's see what's going to be going on. It is a Shiny Salamence versus the Pelipper lead. Instantly gets the weather up for the side of Doodle. His team looking slightly less reliant on the weather, but oh my god! World Leader has inspired electric attack users everywhere as a Thunder Fang instantly wipes Pelipper off the face of the earth. Taking that out for the rest of the match, hopefully getting most likely his 8 turns of weather in, but that's all he's getting, as now Steelix comes in and says we need to find an answer for this Salamence ASAP. So that's very well played to have that for that Game 1 cheese. And Earthquakes comes through, that does so much damage as a Moxie Ments, but Gyro Ball comes out, doesn't even get the kill. This is bad. I wonder if Heavy Slam would have done more. Probably Gyro Ball does more, but he's going to end up going for the Protect, which in my head actually has less value because it's just wasting his weather turns if he wants to put any value to it. So he's just stalling the inevitable as Mega Steelix is taken down. Salamence not even looking like he has to Mega up in this particular situation. Not that he can regardless, but looking strong on his own. Shadow Sneak is going to finally take it out, though. Regardless if he had gone for leftovers or not, it's just a wasted turn. It's not going to get pretty much any value out there. But Salamence has done his damage, taking out the weather and taken out that Steelix. That defensive core is gone. So now it comes down to this Alolan Muck, which has lost officially his Assault Vest, which I think is a good trade for what happened to that Azelf, which was Life Orb Azelf. I think he got the right trade here. Where Assault Vest is gone, this thing is not nearly as tanky, but it is still pretty fat. So he's got to be careful with it. Z-Move Giga Volt Havoc does absolutely nothing. His knockoff is going to come through. Does no damage because it can't knock off the Z-Stone, but the Z-Stone is used. Not doing much of anything to this. But Thunder! Wow, Suicune is just saying we know the rain's going to come up and gets it right in time for the last turn of rain. Actually drops a Thunder. That is... Well, if you saw Giga Volt Havoc, that was probably the Thunder that he ended up using, but that is going to be a super effective HP ground. So we do see a bit of a special Klinklang coming out here to get some value going. Is able to take out the Alolan Muck, so knocking off that Assault Vest was extremely important for the Azelf to do. So Suicune's looking very strong here, 4-3. Volt Switch will come through, get the crit. Klinklang is down. Oh, excuse me. Wow, I'm getting hiccups here. That sucks. As the Drampa actually ends up coming out. Now, Drampa is fat enough to be able to scout everything, but Hawlucha is here. He just kicked this thing in the face. I would have thought that, honestly, we would have seen something like Celebi, but maybe he's worried about something like X-Scissor on the likes of the Leafeon, and ooh, much to his surprise, we see Bulk Up, but then also Glare and Hyper Voice doing a ton of damage as Flying Press comes down, but is a Focus Sash Drampa that gets the Berserk boost. Just special attack raise underneath 50%. Hyper Voice is going to take him down. And now it becomes sketchy for the Suicunes. It looked good to begin with that Salamence, but Alaskan Araquan is recovering near the end here. Executor does end up coming out, just showing that, by the way, bring that Celebi, it's dead. As Helios can now come out, Registeel can actually tank up pretty much anything that both these Pokemon want to do, but he ends up just leaving it in. Is going to go for the SD. I disagree with that play. He knows, or he should know, that Registeel can just tank this stuff up. You don't want to risk it against something like HP Fire or Heat Wave from the Heliolisk, or HP Fire from the Celebi. So either way, it is going to be Registeel versus the world now. The Z move comes through. The Z Electric Terrain? What the hell does that do? It doesn't matter. He has Earthquake. This is so good. Now it's Celebi versus Registeel. Ladies and gentlemen, get your pillows. This could be a very, very long fight. Unless this is something like Nasty Plot Celebi, this could take forever. And I think, well, if it's got Recover on Celebi, Celebi should eventually win against this, even if it has a Giga Drain. But this is Thunder Wave, which means it's more defensive set. They're just going to exchange Thunder Waves, except that Registeel gets Gen 7'd and misses his Thunder Wave. Oh my god. Okay, so Thunder Wave comes out on the Registeel. It's probably the best thing he could do. The Hats is always going to be nice so he doesn't lose to the likes of Seismic Toss, which I really hope for the sake of the Suicune they are running, because that is one way he can get through, because notice how much that Giga Drain did? Yeah, he's not going to be able to heal off enough from that, but he's got Earthquake. What? Oh, this could take forever, boys. Are you kidding me? This is in true Doodle fashion, by the way, where games go about 500 turns, because give or take a few hundred turns. But he's going to... I don't know. You know what, guys? Here. I'm... What the actual hell? No, it wasn't Mega Salamence. It can't be. It's an Uber. It's just Moxie-Mence. Oh, okay. You know what? Just to prove to you guys. No. You know what? Yeah. Okay. You guys, can you wake me up when this battle actually finishes? Thank you. I'll be right back. I want this to be officially finished. I'll be right back, and then I'll just jump right back into it. No problem. And now if you will join me, please, in reading Aeschylus, the Orestian Trilogy. Aeschylus was born of a noble family at Eleusis near Athens in 525 BC. He took part in the Persian Wars, and his epitaph, said to have been written by himself, represents him as fighting at Marathon. At some time in his life, he appears to have been prosecuted for divulging the Eleusinian mysteries, but apparently proved himself innocent. Aeschylus wrote more than 70 plays, of which 7 have survived: The Suppliants, The Persians, 7 Against Thebes, Prometheus Bound, Agamemnon, The Cloephori, and the Eumenides, all translated by Philip Vellacott for the Penguin Classics. He visited Syracuse more than once at the invitation of Hieron I, and he died at Gela in Sicily in 456 BC. Aeschylus was recognized as a classic writer soon after his death, and special privileges were decreed for his plays. Philip Vellacott is a translator of 7 volumes for the Penguin Classics. There are the complete plays of Aeschylus, the complete plays of Euphrates, and a volume of Menander and Thoprathetis. He was educated at St. Paul's School and Magdalen College, Cambridge, and for 24 years he's taught classics and drama to 12-year-olds at Dulwich College. He had lectures on Greek drama on 4 tours in the USA, and has spent 4 terms of visiting lecturer in the University of California at Santa Cruz. He is also the author of Sophocles and Oedipus, and of Ironic Drama, a study of Euphrates' method and meaning in 1975. The Orestian Trilogy. A proper introduction to these plays, even for the reader who knows no Greek, would occupy a whole volume much larger than this little book. The book, by the way, guys, which we can get through in the amount of time it'll take this battle to finish, is about 173 pages of this. Have fun. Their subject matter is so near to the core of human feeling, to the central experiences of life from which all human studies take their origin, that the careful reader for them finds himself turning aside, now to history and prehistory, now to philosophy, theology, and ethics, now to the development of drama as an art, and all the time held by the intensity of the author's poetic conception, which springs to life in line after line like an inexhaustible fountain. In the following pages, I shall not attempt even to summarize the wealth of learned, imaginative, and critical writing which is available in libraries for the enrichment of our understanding of this work, but merely to give the minimum of information necessary for a first reading. Those who already have some knowledge, even if slight, of the world in which Aeschylus lived will find their desire for further reading best satisfied by selecting from the short list of books given on page 197. In modern times, the Orestian Trilogy has rightly been accorded a place among the greatest achievements of the human mind. Much of the dramatic excitement, much of the philosophic intensity of this work, perhaps also some hint of its poetic splendor, may reach the modern reader through a translation. But the basics of all the story is which, like many great stories, grew gradually into shape through several centuries. A story compounded of fact and imagination, reflecting the experience, belief, and aspiration of a vital society, and blending within itself the poetry of common life and the vision of a prophet. It is a long story and has been told very often. In telling it once more for the interest of those who read the plays for the first time, I must begin with the remotest myth and end with documented history. And now, if you will excuse me, I shall now play I will just give you guys the sound that I think represents this the best. Let me just grab this quickly for all of you. No, we don't want to hear whatever that is. Okay, here we go. I got this for you guys. I figured this out. Are you feeling the intensity I'm feeling, boys? And ladies and gentlemen, in cash of fashion, the Sarasota Suicunes take game number 1. GG. And by God. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly why you take Seismic Toss 100% on your defensive Pokemon. So, it sounds like Alaskan Arachnids have the wrong set on the Celebi, but he cannot change that. I was actually using a drill, Marie. It was a drill. That's what that game felt like, because in the end, there was the potential for Leafeon to sweep. Because all I had to do was stay safe against the Celebi and just threaten it with the likes. Because we didn't know if it had Psychic, but if he had kept it healthy enough, he could just simply go for Swords Dance. Not instead of Swords Dance, just go for X-Scissor and just kill it off for the most part. But he also has the moves that counter the Rain team. So this is the opposite of when you're trying to use your team to counter the weather when you don't actually need to. It worked in the beginning. All you needed was that Salamence. Take a book out of take a page out of Mitchie's book. He just brings the Colbur Berry Aura Sphere with his Mew to stop that Weavile, which makes the most sense. But when everything is ready to take out the water Pokemon, then you have a little bit of a problem. If you actually look at the side of side of Doodle's team here, Electric doesn't get you that much value because Caracosta and Pelipper. That's it. And sorry, Araquanid, but that's it. You don't need 5 or 6 Pokemon, 4 or 5, 6 Pokemon carrying electric moves, right? But I definitely like the Gigavolt Havoc on the Klinklang, but it has to be very, very safe to use it because I don't think it actually gets a ground move or anything to handle the Mega Steelix. And on top of that, if the rain is kept up, then he cannot... if the rain is kept up, then he can't really do much damage with HP Fire, which is part of the reason why Steelix and Pelipper work so well together. So now that we've waited 49 turns to see that Doodle brought the wrong moveset, and now he has to play with the wrong moveset on Celebi, how does that change the composition of his team? How does that actually officially stop his strategy work with the Alaskan Araquanids, right? How does Gamer abuse this? Now that he knows that Celebi is not going to be doing too well, can he bring something else? I think the answer might be, like, knowing that he might switch it, does he feel safer with bringing other Pokemon? He could bring the Suicune. Suicune could be pretty good. But that's pretty much it. Like, I feel like he could feel safer now knowing that he's playing against T-Wave. Doesn't have to worry about Toxic. Doesn't look like there was much Toxic on the side of Duel. Not that we got to see enough of it. But I think he's safe to bring something to that Pokemon. But I think neither Pokemon really has to change. I really don't think that Registeel is good to leave up as the last thing. Which might mean that, do we just try and find more value with the Salamence, or is Salamence going to go on the same rampage that it did in the very beginning, just try and put pressure down? Same thing as in Game 1. You see the pressure when it comes down to being able to get that Game 1, Turn 1 cheese, but it will not work again in Game number 2. There is no way you'll allow people to get away with that in Game number 2. So now my question to you is, can Doodle bring it back in Game number 2? We'll have to see. This is the wrong order. Boop. I can't choose which side people spawn on. Switch sides, please. It's not switching sides. Help. Oh god, it's breaking. It's breaking. Give it a moment, guys. Hold on. That's not working. Okay, bam. It worked. There it is. Bam. Yay! We doing it. It looks like he ends up keeping the Celebi on. He brings the same team. He's like, I like the same 6. And he's going to stick with it, but he's dead. He dies. It's okay. This is the most intense battle ever. When Doodle goes invisible, he's basically used Shadow Force. He's reaching into the Distortion World to try and grab inner knowledge that we are not aware can be possibly used. What can he find in the Distortion World to help superpower him so he can get through this and make it through? But we can take a look at what the Suicunes brought. Once again, brings out different Pokemon. Brings out the Slurpuff and the Diggersby and the Moltres. So actually bringing out more Pokemon that can even handle this team once he knows that he can deal with the rain. The thing is, though, he has dropped the Steelix, so he knows that he's not going to get... Or, sorry, not dropped the Steelix. He's dropped... What did he drop all in the meantime with this? It looks like he's dropped the Azelf. Doesn't feel like he's getting much value out of that. And he has dropped the Klinklang. And what else did he drop from last battle? That looks like to be it. Did he have Diggersby on that before? I don't remember that. Either way. No, he didn't. What did he drop then? Huh? I don't remember. Something got wrecked and we didn't see it apparently, but it is going to be the Pelipper versus the Moltres this time, as the U-turn actually comes out from the Moltres, which is going to be very standard for him. He does actually get the opportunity to run that since Moltres does not get a ton of things it can definitely run, but in his moveset he can be slightly flexible. But he does end up going into the Salama and says, by the way, I have Thunderfang, but the Celebi coming out just in case Gamer wanted to switch it up and go for a really powerful move like Earthquake on the Steelix, predicting it. As the HP Ice actually ends up coming out. Did we see that in the last... Wait a minute. You can't bring the real... You can't bring a fixed moveset, Doodle. You cannot do it. You cannot bring a different set. Oh my god! Hold on. If you make a mistake by bringing the wrong moveset first... Oh man. Now I gotta check this. Let's get a reference. What are you asking reference? Where the hell is he? What? Is his like the one that's not open? It's not. Of course it's not. Yeah. In a memento. It's fine, Doodle. You're lucky it's a casual tournament. We're going to allow it. The illegal moveset was in game number 1. So now that he has the proper moveset, let him play it out. Good thing you don't win money out of this. But either way, he's going to go for the Poison Jab with the Alolan Muck, which is going to get the Poison as a result, which is going to put even more pressure on this Moltres, which doesn't going to matter because it's already super low. And either way, tried to go for the Shadow Sneak, but gets confused and actually dies. This is Rain Moltres. We've seen this with Rain Corona in the past, so Moltres could do the exact same thing with the Hurricane. It ends up going 1 for 1, so that's a good trade for the Suicunes. He's going to be able to get rid of that Alolan Muck either way without having to go for the knockoff. So that's good for him, as the Diggersby actually now comes out against this Celebi. Now, unfortunately, the Celebi is different, so it's hard for Suicunes to track. But he's just going to be able to kill with U-turn anyways. It turned out to be a Choice Scarf Celebi this entire time. And now that that's gone, it will be the Slurpuff coming in. Feeling okay with this, but there is a Steelix. I don't see him getting through Steelix anytime soon. We see the Drampa come out, though. Playoff could do a bunch of damage to this thing, even without going for Belly Drum. As we see Light Screen? And Leafeon is dragged out, so that's actually not bad. We do know it is Berserk Drampa, though. So, with it being Berserk Drampa, he can go for the knockoff and then follow it up with the Leaf Blade if he wants to at some point. But Glare does come out, which is actually which was more important when the Celebi was around. Just so that he could potentially get the hacks if he wasn't able to kill off this Leafeon. But, either way, Any sweeping potential, he's going to be slower. This Mega Steel Squish can now go for, actually, Stone Edge probably. Gyro Ball's not going to do much because he has the Paralysis on. I was going to say, what would he actually go for? Because if he's carrying Gyro Ball and not Heavy Slam, he actually loses damage by paralyzing this Leafeon. So, because now Leafeon will be slower than him. Actually, it didn't look like he was slower either way, but he's much slower than he was before, so the damage is going to be even more reduced. As he just ends up trying to set up as much as possible, your Gyro Ball doing nothing. And this is dangerous because even though he's paralyzed, he's got to make sure he can kill with the Heliolisk or just go for... Actually, he can go for the rain-boosted Hurricane, so maybe what he's trying to do right now is waste all the Light Screen turns and then kind of sack off this... Okay, so what he's going to have to do here is, unfortunately, because the Mega Steelix is out here... Oh, that's a misplay. Should have gone for the Light Screen so he's protected against the Pelipper coming in with the Hurricane, which is going to be 100% accurate and not protected. That can kill. Depending on, I don't actually know how much damage it does to a Leafeon. We don't see this matchup very often, but yeah, it ends up killing. That +6 sweep not going through. I think that was a big misplay on the side of the Suicunes there, not getting that +6 finish. Even Return would have done... Actually, he had Knockoff. Yeah, Knockoff would have destroyed this thing at +6, no problem, because, you know... It's going to destroy it. Thunder Punch ends up coming out, but the Berserk is popped. He gets his +1 special attack. But now he's got the Rain. He's got the Rain to abuse with this potentially Thunder, or he's got Rain Dish probably, or Dry Skin on his Heliolisk. So it's going to be staying safe, but Earthquake on this Registeel could actually prove some issues for the Alaskan Araquanid. The Earthquake does come out, kills off the Drampa, and now he's got to be careful. There's Thunder Punch for the Pelipper, and then there's Earthquake for the Heliolisk. I don't think it matters. Doodle still has all of that stuff throwing him off here. That's not going to do enough damage, but it's going to bring Pelipper to the point where it's just going to hate life. It can Roost take a little bit of damage. He's looking for the confusion, trying to get the hacks. In true Doodle fashion, ends up getting the hacks, but does not Pokemon his opponent. And it's going to be this Helios going up against Earthquake, Parafused Registeel. I don't know, let's see, he's got the Z-move, guns up going for the Gigavolt Havoc, and doesn't even kill! And he ends up breaking through, killing him, ladies and gentlemen. That was a much faster game, as the Sarasota Suicunes actually end up 2-0-ing the Alaskan Araquanids. GG. Gotta tell you, did not expect that type of result. I expected more of a 1-1, but ends up coming out on top. And I mean, you know, this has been the issue multiple times when it's come to weather-based teams. We've seen it time and time again. It just doesn't end up working as you intend, right? Very predictable. And he just literally brought anti-rain, which is hilarious because most times he'd be like, well, if you got a Pelipper on the team, yeah, it wouldn't work as well. But what happens if you know the players consistently play around that effect, right? You bring Thunder Klinklang, you bring Thunder Fang, shoutouts to World Leader, on Salamence, you bring Thunder Punch on your Registeel. You're getting away with this stuff because these teams have that easy predictability. It's almost too easy, right, for the sides against the Alaskan Araquanids and even the Stockton Thunderous, and they're playing up last against the Okeechobee Taurus. We'll have to see what he could do against that, see if he's prepared for the Sand. Sand's a little bit harder to prepare against, but it's you know, it's a powerful weather, but Suicunes just basically say, we know what I want you to bring, I know what you're going to bring. I've got the Pokemon to handle the water types, I've got the Pokemon to handle the water synergists, and then I've got the rest of the Pokemon just handle everything else. And in the case for the Sarasota Suicunes, they get away with it. So, walking away with 2-2-0, Suicunes staying at the top of the tier. Top of the standings. Let's take a look at these stats. Oh, actually, we'll take a look at the standings last. We're going to take a couple of minutes, guys, again, and then we'll have our last match of the night between the Stockton Thunderous and the Okeechobee Tauros. You're watching the Pro Pokeball Season 4. You're back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with the Pro Pokeball Season 4, week number 2. With our last match of the night. Stockton Thunderous versus the Okeechobee Toros. World Leader versus Project. Project coming off a 1-1 last week against the QB Destroyers, I believe? One day I will remember these battles. Trust me, guys, I do pay attention to you. I do. Yeah, QB Destroyers. Hey, I was right. Hey, that's all that matters. But World Leader not having so much luck. Actually just lost to Doodle last week 2-0. His weather was just not up to par, but is another weather-based user who's trying to find that synergy, but doesn't quite have enough variety on his team to actually make it very, very tough for him to actually get anything done. As a result, it was very much abused by the weather user of Doodle. But in this matchup, it gets even scarier because now you're not even focused around a particular weather that would trump sand. This is stuff now that's straight power, right? Project's draft is extremely potent and can bring out quite a bit of stuff. We saw it against the QB Destroyers where it could do a lot of damage just because like his team is just full of threats. Tons of value-based Pokemon and very slow. We saw him bring out Trick Room. We thought it was impressive. I kind of want to see more of it. It shuts down any type of sand stuff that he wants to do when he's trying to give him Sand Rush to the likes of... nothing. There he doesn't have Sand Rush. But the point is, if he got Sand Rush, it'd be great. But the average team on the side of Stockton Thunderous is actually quite slow too, so it might not get as much value as you might think. But regardless, do we see the same similar issue to World Leader's draft last week as we will this week, simply because he just has too many holes in his draft? Is it just not varied up enough? Is it too focused on the same strat? We're about to find out. It is game number 1 between the Okeechobee Toros on the close side and the Stockton Thunderous on the far side. Let's take a look at the teams just as expected. We see something of a Trick Room team, most likely on the side of Project. Whereas you look on the other side, and there's what we were looking for. We're looking for the Mandibuzz. Not completely focused on sand, but now you have everything that pretty much just, you have the Tentacruel and the Decidueye, which are effective, and now you have the Mandibuzz, most likely with Overcoat. We see the Overcoat on the Mandibuzz, so this is the defensive core we were expecting to always see from World Leader, which is actually a very respectable defensive core. So I like that he's definitely cleaned up his act a bit with what Pokemon he's bringing, and now he actually has a defensive core that needs to be feared and broken through. On the side of the Okeechobee Toros, we'll see what he can actually do is bring out the little Marowak this time. The Staraptor's going to do a fair amount of damage to that team as well, defensively. But it looks like we have a turn 1 that was already wasted. The Will-O-Wisp does come out from the Jellicent as the Stealth Rock is laid, so we do have the sand. Not the worst thing, it is Sandstream, so we're not worried about any sturdy being broken, but he is going to sand up regardless, and he's just going to have to worry about that burn. Unfortunately, not having that Gigalith do enough damage, but... Hi, Tibor. Will-O-Wisp does miss. Nice prediction by Project to see that most likely was going to see the Gigalith switch, and even if it didn't, it's still safe because he could go for the Scald. But at the same time, it's like, why, you might get the damage off, you might not. You might as well try and get the double burn on the nice prediction there. So, doesn't end up scoring it, unfortunately, but nonetheless. Let's see if we can try and get done now. So he has to worry about Leaf Blade coming out from this Decidueye. Also has to worry about the Spirit Shackles, which can lock it in and basically doom the Jellicent. There's a couple options he can do. If he doesn't want to sack anything off, Staraptor can actually somewhat safely switch into this. Spirit Shackle will not be effective, and Leaf Blade will be resisted. So he can do that if he wants to start putting some pressure down with the Staraptor. Although I do feel like once those rocks get up, Staraptor just loses a ton of value, specifically when Project's not actually running Defog or Rapid Spin on his team. So he is going to end up switching it out. It is the best thing he could possibly do. If World Leader knows this is coming, he ends up going for the U-turn. Very nice play by World Leader. Just seems the safest, though, because he knows he has the double stab, which threatens out Jellicent, so he can get the switch initiative, and basically causes Staraptor to take a bunch of recoil damage, or takes a bunch of Stealth Rock damage for nothing. Close combat doesn't even matter here. He's just looking to get as much damage, if not kill Staraptor off. With the burn, Stone Edge can still kill this thing, and it does no guarantee that close combat will do it, but all-out pummeling could do it, as it just barely misses the kill, but he misses anyways. It doesn't matter. Oh, and this is awful if you're World Leader because he misses getting the damage down. Now he has to switch out just to preserve the sand. But if rocks get set up on the side of the Okeechobee Toros, which actually doesn't look like, maybe, I think Alolan Marowak gets rocks. I think it should be his priority now, just to doom anything that Gigalith can try and do. Again, it'll die before it'll be able to set up the weather. He's going to switch into Lucario now as Brave Bird ends up coming through just one-shots with Brave Bird. Brave Bird one-shots that Lucario, but tries to get as much recall damage as possible off, I guess. But it's just not going to do it. The Staraptor just gets a ton of value, and I'm mistaken. When I'm thinking this thing wouldn't get much done, it's because, yeah, Stealth Rock damage into recall would be bad. But now the Mandibuzz comes in stock. You don't want to do anything to this other than close combat. That's exactly what he's going to go for. It does next to nothing. He can even go for Roost here and waste it, but he ends up just going for the Foul Play. Doesn't want this thing switching out. Based on how much health he had left, switching back in most likely would have died from rocks unless it was a 1 HP live. But he just values getting that down. Honestly, he could just waste Project's time by roosting off and letting him just do it to himself, right? Waste all his close combats, then he's eventually threatened. But the taunt comes out. Well played by Project, though, not to fall for it, and just goes for Ice Beam. Ends up working out, too, because he also, has the +1 special attack. But World Leader knows that if this is a Trick Room team, he could just go for Roost, and this Ice Beam is only going to be neutral damage. He needs to get the freeze if he's really going to keep doing this, or waiting for the taunt, because now it puts pressure on World Leader to guess. Do I want the Trick Room set up, or do I want to either Roost it off or get out of here so I don't get hurt? Tentacruel will be a pretty decent option, although he has to be worried about the likes of Discharge, although we saw Thunderbolt last week, which is fine. He just has to be worried about it. But the Toxic actually flies out. Interesting. So either it's carrying it's not carrying Recovery, or it's not carrying a particular coverage of Bolt Beam to go with the Trick Room potential that he could be running. He could be running Trick Room. Maybe not. Especially if he brought in Staraptor and maybe Roserade. I don't know. If I see Crawdon and Alola Marowak, I think Trick Room. But most likely Natural Cure on Ric Flair here, so don't think it's going to be much, but that Ice Beam is going to put a lot of pressure, and that crit to boot, as HP looks to be Fire comes out, maybe predicting the Decidueye to come in to resist the Grass move, but nonetheless, it's in the interest of World Leader to stay in here, because he knows he is a special defensive Pokemon. Giga Drain's not going to be doing anything to him regardless, as Ice Beam is just going to fly out again. World Leader can make the safe play here, specifically knowing that this thing could very well be carrying Water Absorb, does not want to waste anything. Freeze Hacks is doing it, but you know what? I'm wrong. He doesn't know this thing has the Water Absorb. I look silly now, but nonetheless, exchange Toxic for Burn. I think World Leader comes out on top there with the Jellicent being Toxic. It's basically on a timer now. Has to be consistently switching into Stealth Rocks, and overall it's just going to be worn down as a tank. What is the win condition for both these teams? Crawdon can definitely do it in the Trick Room if it sets up or even just starts smacking people down. So I think for the interest of Project, tries to get the Pokemon weakened down, so the burn will end up working out eventually on the side of World Leader, or on the side of Project, especially when he's got Hex on his moveset. Nice. I haven't seen that in a very long time, although I haven't seen Jellicent in a very long time either. The Z move comes out with the Z Haze. Says, screw your damage. In actual fact, does not get rid of the burn. I'm surprised, actually. I guess it just heals you to full. But nonetheless, we saw Z Haze last week. He does it again just to heal himself up, but he's still having issues here because he's taking a bunch of damage. He's losing his special defensive Pokemon. Not that this would do well against the Crawdons anyways. So he's just trying to get the toxic damage down to force the thing to either recover or just cause it to take a bunch of damage and not be useful for later. Because at this point, though, if anything, World Leader somewhat lost a win condition in Lucario. Can Camerupt do it? Technically, if Trick Room is popped here, Mega Camerupt does get a lot of value out, so, and he still has no Stealth Rocks outside, which means he can pop the Sand to get residual damage going, but he's ended up just going to the Mandibuzz regardless, taking it out with the Foul Play. So that's a wall gone. That was something that would stop Mega Camerupt from feeling safe, because then Skull flies out on Mega Camerupt and does not feel good. So, he's definitely trying to set up for the likes of Mega Camerupt, most likely, whereas I want to see something like a Trick Room Crawdon sweep coming out here. But Foul Play on the... Oh, this is one problem. If you're going to run Trick Room, you got to know that other things are going to be outspeeding you. Mandibuzz abuses that huge attack stat on a Alola Marowak. Kills it with Foul Play. But I think it's now or never. He has to get the setup here. If he's going to keep this is his last Trick Roomer. If he's carrying it. If not, he's got some major issues, because Crawdon's even not going to like Foul Play, even if it resists it. He ends up going for the Ice Beam, predicting the taunt. Interesting play to not go for the Toxic from the side of the Mandibuzz, but I don't think it was Toxic from Mandibuzz. It was the Tentacruel that was carrying the Toxic. He's going to try and go for here, knowing that he's probably going to be faster since this is a Trick Room team. As Roserade switches in, fantastic play from Project, although very standard, nothing new to see. However, we do see something, and it's not Natural Cure Roserade. It could be Poison Point. So World Leader's actually going to get the kill on the Roserade with the Tentacruel. Now the funny thing is, you want to say he's setting up for a win condition, but he's killing everything without said win condition. He can now go back, get the sand set up, start chipping away at this Porygon 2. And since this thing has not shown recovery yet, it's getting scary. He goes for the foul play. What the hell? Foul play power P2? Interesting. Okay, so it goes for the foul play. Reveals that. I would have kept that hidden. He could have just gone for Ice Beam and killed it off regardless, but says feels like the right thing. Now Decidueye has to feel even scared, even more scared. Now, Mega Camera Up does have a high attack stat, so foul play might do more damage? Maybe that's why he's got it too? I mean, it does well against all his other Pokemon, but I mean, he wouldn't be using... Unless he was left with Lucario. Lucario's going to kill him with close combat regardless. So now, what would foul play be for? It must be predicting something else on the side of World Leader. Maybe like Lycanroc Dusk form. That could be something. But can we see Crawdaunt taking his team out? The answer is if it's Dragon Dance, yes. It could definitely go for Dragon Dance. Go for the... I think it gets Liquidation. I don't know if it gets Liquidation or not. But regardless, Adaptability Boost can basically kill off the rest of the Pokemon between Crunch and his Water move. Especially with the Mandibuzz being pre-damaged, it's basically over once that camera sets up. So I'm pretty sure Project is trying to get as much damage out as he possibly can now, and then try and get the Crawdaunt in safely, which means he needs to manage this, because even if he tries to set up, Camera Up can do a bunch of damage if left alone. Earth Power can do a sizable chunk, if not potentially get the kill, maybe with a crit. But here we go, he is going to go for it. We do see the recover, so we see the full moveset, and that's how much damage a P2 takes from Earth Power. I don't know what build it is, but if it's not taking it well like that, how do you think Crawdaunt's going to do? And the answer is it's not, as Earth Power is going to force it out, and we're going to get our answer right now. Is Crawdaunt going to go for the kill and try and set up? It can't say for sure it's safe. It's going to be slower than Decidueye, and Decidueye is carrying that Leaf Blades, but he is going to end up just going for the kill. Does not risk being able to take the hit. I think he should have gone for the VD if he has it, but Decidueye now comes in. It's this left. He actually outspeeds? Oh! I didn't expect that to outspeed. Oh my god, but he has to go for Aqua Jet instead of anything else. Does he not have the likes of Waterfall or something? This could be bad. Yes, there we go. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Goes for the superpower, misses the kill, has the DD though, and actually solidifies his own death by giving himself extra attack. And the Stockton Thunderous go up 1-0. Ooh. I have to do a damage calculation. I need to know. I have to know. That one will Sting Project. Doing very well. We expected that to be DD. We definitely expected that to be DD, but the question is, did he know something we didn't, which is, can Mega Camera Ups kill a Crawdaunt? Now, of course, this is public information. The answer looks to be yes. It definitely can. It's a one-shot. It's actually 136% to 161%. So, the correct play was to go for the Aqua Jet. So maybe he just got stuck with, maybe he just got stuck with the fact that he wasn't able to kill. But then my question is, why would he go for Aqua Jet if he had maybe another water move? The thing gets Waterfall or Liquidation. I still don't know which one it gets or is using, but it feels bad because you look at the damage of Aqua Jet, and then you have DD. Aqua Jet and DD usually don't go together. You would expect the Waterfall to come out, and that would have been enough damage. That's why you see the 3%. And then on top of that, by him going for Dragon Dance, you see the likes of him trying to kill him off with it, but then it's also smart because it resists the foul play. But he misses the damage by going for Aqua Jet, so what ends up happening here? Unless he was expecting... Like, here's the thing, right? If he's carrying Aqua Jet, fine, he's good against Mega Camera, well played by him, and he knows he can't take the hits. But if he outspeeds Mega Camera up naturally, why didn't he end up going for the Waterfall first? If he's carrying that. If he's just carrying Aqua Jet, now he's got some big issues, right? Because Stockton Thundurus won that literally by having that one defensive Pokemon that we wanted to see, and that was the Mandibuzz. That's exactly what we wanted to see. So well played by World Leader finally to bring out the defensive core that we thought he would be building simply out of that second part of his draft. And now we have to question the build of Project. Is it Liquidation? Does it get Liquidation, Ivan? I wasn't too sure about that. If it gets Liquidation, Liquidation is better. But either way, the fact that he didn't go for that stronger stab move... I mean, Aqua Jet is not the worst thing because even with a +1 speed, it's not that fast. But Dragon Dance for a Crawdon usually means that it's going to be set up in a way where it can do it. So paired with something like Sticky Web is always good for it because even then the +1 still feels better against the majority of Pokemon that will still outspeed despite the fact that Crawdon has +1 speed. So, to that regard, it's still okay. But then you would expect something like a Choice Band set to be running the Aqua Jet. And it doesn't matter if he's running both Liquidation. If he's running both Liquidation and Aqua Jet, why go for the Aqua Jet on the Mandibuzz and not the stronger move? He missed so much damage from that. You're good to go. I got you. I've got you, Project. But either way, Stockton Thunder has taken their first point of the tournament. Will not go through a drought. Can he do it again? Brings the same team. We see the same things, except we now have a Cresselia in the mix over that... Over that what? Over the Alola Marowak. I actually kind of agree with this play because, oh god, it's going crazy. There you go. I actually agree with that play because the Alola Marowak didn't look like it was going to get much done there. And plus, he's not running Trick Room, so it's not going to get that much value with it either way. But now, what do we have? What have we seen? We've seen Ember Moon go for the Ice Beam. That is the Cresselia. It goes for sub. Ooh, this could be sub-comp line. Interesting. As now the Gigalith is just going to set up, which is good for him. He's going to get the chip damage off on this Cresselia as he can just keep trying to go through this. But the thing is, it is Calm Mind. He has to start putting some pressure down before this thing gets way too far. Absolutely, go for it, Ivan. It's public knowledge after this game. We already see that it is Calm Mind. As the Stone Edge actually doesn't even break the sub, this is bad for World Leader. He needs to not keep this thing in. So now what he has to do is, because he's taking this opportunity to do this, he can't send Mandibuzz because behind a sub, he can just go for +3 Ice Beam and it will kill it off. Gets the double crit, though, so that's not bad for him. Wasting a lot of health on the side of Cresselia. Eventually, it's not going to matter, though. He can just keep doing this. He has to keep getting crits. Plus, dealing with Moonlight. Look how much damage it does. It's just barely off-killing. Plus, he doesn't have the sand to weaken this thing and not have its leftovers get value. And Mandibuzz is now going to come in. As Substitute comes out, he's basically going to have to sack off Mandibuzz for the purpose of just breaking this thing out of the sub and keeping it exposed. What does he have to kill after that, though? I guess it would have to be the Decidueye, but it's also weak to Ice Beam. And oh, okay. Ends up living, goes for the taunt. Well played by World Leader going first with that, because now what he's going to do is switch to the Tentacruel, but he can't... Oh, is it because he's got Tox? Does Toxic go through this stuff now? Oh, right, he's got the haze. I forgot he's got the haze. Ooh, so Cresselia is actually just hard countered here, because if it's carrying Moonblast or Ice Beam, it's just Ice Beam. It actually can't do anything while this Tentacruel is alive. Confident play by World Leader, I like that. He actually... In which case, why did he go... Why would he go for the taunt? I guess to prevent further Calm Minds? But then he could just keep hazing and not take any damage with the Tentacruel outside of the sand. That was one of the older movesets for sure, Ivan. So he successfully cleared the he successfully cleared up the Cresselia's stats. Did a lot of damage to his Mandibuzz in the process, and Tentacruel did not really succeed in showing any pressure. He doesn't have anything to break through this sub. Although, what he could do is now there are no Calm Minds up, World Leader immediately switches into Camerupt and try and threaten this thing, because at this point, it's either that or you have to have Decidueye take a +1 hit, because you know he's going for the Calm Mind again, right? So Decidueye is going to have to go for, like, Spirit Shackle and just trying maybe... Does he have the Z move? Did we see Z move? I can't remember what we saw on the Decidueye. But he's going to go for the camera if this Calm Mind does come through. It's not going to do a ton of damage now because it's getting set up with that, which is why I said now the Decidueye. Maybe he's just going to go for it. He knows that it is Ice Beam, which is neutral. He'd probably much prefer the Moon Blast, which is the standard one. And yeah, Cresselia's going to outspeed. Just keep going for Calm Minds. Oh, the Fire Blast missed. So now what do? This thing's setting itself up. There's nothing going good with it. Tentacruel is now going to come in. The Calm Mind comes through. At this point, we got to start paying attention to power points here. Moonlight has been used once. Oh yeah, Calm Mind's got 32. We're fine. But Haze comes out. If he gets the freeze on the Tentacruel, he'll be much more successful at this. You don't really want to rely on a 10% chance when you're already running out of Ice Beams. You only got 11 left, and you might think, well, noob, that's not a big deal. But if World Leader keeps going through this thing is no longer going to be allowed to attack. And are you actually kidding me? He gets the freeze on the Mega Camerupt. World Leader never lucky. Which is horrible for him, because now the Calm Mind starts setting up. He's going to try and blast through it, but Fire Blast does not thaw him. Ooh. I don't know if... Does Flame Charge do it? Sometimes this thing can run Flame Charge. But he's staying in. I would not do this. He needs to threaten out those Ice Beams and keep wasting them so Cresselia will be lost. So it will be a bit of a stall war here, but at the same time, it's the only thing he can do. And now he's just taking unnecessary damage on his Pokemon. He needs to just switch out and go back that Tentacruel instantly, right? Just waste it. Look how much damage it does. It does nothing. But at the same time, he has Z Haze. Right, he's got the Darkinium Z, so he's only gonna be able to heal himself through Z Haze, and this could be a waste right here, and it is actually wasted. Not necessarily because it's just a full heal for him, but you could just go for normal Haze and then save it for later. So I guess that would be kind of like the best time to do it. But now the burn is down, and honestly, from what I've seen from this match, World Leader has to really keep this Tentacruel alive for longer because at this point, that burn has more value than that Toxic on the Jellicent. The Jellicent didn't do any harm, except when things were burned. It's just spreading burns and going for Hex. The Tentacruel actually legitimately counters this Cresselia set with Haze. And he has to pay attention to how many Hazes he has. He has tons of Hazes. That's 48. I forgot that thing has so much power points. Why does it have so much power points? Either way, this thing has to be kept super safe against the Cresselia. Waste the Ice Beams, just sit there, let him do whatever he wants. But now that he's taking burn, this actually works out for Project because, well, the wall that's going to be walling is eventually going to take chip damage, and there's no leftovers or Black Sludge to negate that. If the sand is set up, he can't switch the Tentacruel in. It's so anti-synergistic, and it's... there's so many things. It's so complex because you know that you have the counter, but then when you let it get crippled like that, it essentially just ruins the countering because it's going to die eventually, and it doesn't have any form of recovery that we are aware of. It could be carrying rest. I don't think it is. Scald is going to keep going through, trying to get the burn. He doesn't really value this Jellicent anymore. It's not doing a hell of a lot for Project. It's toxic. It's also just getting worn down. World Leader's just going to sit out here, keep his guy as healthy as possible, but he's risking the burns. Does not end up getting it. Unfortunate for Project, but he can go home happy knowing that the Jellicent did the job of getting that Tentacruel burn, so that in the future, if it does end up being that, Calm Minds are coming through. Ivan, I just said that the that moveset used to be my old moveset, and there used to be an old moveset that ran around before. Just keep in mind, guys, as this is the last match of the night, if you want to get any, if you want to get anything going in terms of Nubits, donated towards the most valuable Pokemaster reward, make sure you get that done because by the end of the stream, that will be shut down. You can only do it on Battle Lanes. Stone Edge is going to come through onto the Porygon too, as the Toxic does end up missing on this Gigalith. This gets dangerous now because you want to have an answer for the P2, and you have it. Actually, he can feel safe with foul play because I think Lucario gets justified? But he's going to send this in, which is just going to let it take a lot more damage. I don't know what World Leader wants to accomplish with this. Going for... Okay, he gets the Toxic off. But in the future, yeah, Foul Play gets a decent amount of damage, but any damage you get on this Tentacruel is just going to be so good. So, yeah, you get the value on this, but Lucario could have come in before, and now it most likely has a Justify boost. It's not Justified. Ooh, it's probably Steadfaster, and it's probably Inner Focus in that case. But with Justified, he would have gotten an attack raise, and that would have been really bad for the P2. Why not just send this thing in to begin with on that before he would go for Foul Play? Because you know he's going for Toxic, send it in, keep it safe, then go for the Close Combat. You're basically going to threaten this thing to death. The Toxic is going to be nice now, but now Lucario's finally going to show that can go for a Close Combat. That's so much damage. These things also carry E-Speed or Bullet Punch, which is going to allow him to basically take out this Roserade very easily. It's actually going to end up going for the Earthquake, so it's got the coverage. Life Orb is going to help him supplement some damage. Staraptor now comes in. Does have to be careful. It does have the Intimidate, though, so it's not Reckless. That was one reason why it wasn't taking as much damage. It does have the Intimidate to manage this slightly. Porygon 2 does get Thunderbolt, yes. Close Combat is going to fly out, does a fair amount of damage to a Gigalith, but at this point the Gigalith is being sent to his death just for the purposes of sand chip damage on the Staraptor. Actually makes a double switch to fool him with the Decidueye, which is a good play. Project would not go for the Brave Bird there, it would be Close Combat. Could also go for U-turn, expecting maybe this, but nonetheless he is getting that little damage, and every little piece of damage on Staraptor is important for the likes of Brave Bird, killing him with recoil, especially since it's not Reckless. But on top of that, also Rocks calculations, right? The more damage he takes, the less times he can come in on Rocks. Right now he has 2 switch-ins basically left. And then he's stuck without just dying to Rocks. So what do we see from this now? Staraptor is standing out here. Brave Bird definitely coming through. I think World Leader might even make a triple switch back into the... Oh, he goes into Mega Camerupt. Ouch! He is just going to let that die. Could have gone into Gigalith, maybe survived, and get just that much little more chip damage on him. But nonetheless, he has brought this Staraptor down to 1 switch-in remaining. And not with a lot of health, either. Doesn't matter, though, because the Staraptor can get value just by standing out here. But here's the thing, right? We do see the Staraptor getting a lot of value. He actually just kills off the thing that stops Cresselia? What? Oh my god, interesting. I guess he has nothing better to take the hit, but at the same time, what is his plan? Does he have something to kill Cresselia? He must be relying on keeping that Cresselia at bay so he can use Decidueye to bring in with Spirit Shackles to just trap it and kill it behind so it doesn't get the sub up. That's the only thing I can think of. I still think a safer play is to go for it. As we see an all-out pummeling fly through that Mandibuzz, it does nothing. As he ends up just going for the Foul Play to kill. Could have even left it just to do whatever it wanted to do, because he could just, you know, roost it off after and not even care about that damage. If all-out pummeling did 36%, Close Combat did something like 22% before. He could just stand out here and let it do its thing. But now, Porygon 2 comes out, and it's just going to start going for those Ice Beams. But he gets the freeze on him! No way! Ouch, that's a double 10% freeze on the Stockton Thundurus. He is running out of options here. That is so much damage that Lucario does not appreciate. As Meteor Mash flies through, doesn't do anything. Could have gone for the Close Combat as the Recover is now going to fly out. Luckily, the Toxic is going to supplement a lot of that damage that he did recover. Probably went for Meteor Mash in case the Cresselia tried to come out and set up, but he just ended up just going to kill it off. But now, that Cresselia is coming in, and because that Cresselia is coming in, it can go for the sub on this. Instead, no, it actually goes into the Crawdont? Because he can go for the Aqua Jet. Right, keep forgetting this thing has Aqua Jet. My bad. He's just going to go for the kill there. Okay, so this does make sense to go out to Crawdont now, because obviously he's got the Aqua Jet to kill off. Now he can set up on either a Gigalith, which is close to death. Decidueye, though, which he does outspeed, which is weird. So I think this game just goes straight to Project. Now this thing is set up. Yeah, it just kills. That's it. That's game. He actually can't do anything to the point where he doesn't even have to set this much up. He's just doing it because he can on the freeze. This is deadly, though. He thaws and goes for the Foul Play. What are you doing, Project? What a greedy play. Oh, my God. Because now he has to go for the Ice Beam because Foul Play is going to break that sub. And he's just going to taunt him, which means he now has to go for the... Oh, my God. Oh, he had the game in his hand. Wow, Foul Play does not actually break the sub. Very interesting. But the thing is, he can't set up Moon Blasts. Or sorry, he can't set up Ice Beams with Calm Minds because he's going to keep getting taunted. And since he can take 2 Ice Beams, he can just roost every other turn and just keep the taunt on. I think it actually adds up where if he roosts now, he can taunt. He won't outspeed, though, to get the taunt on before he goes for a Calm Mind. So we'll have the +1, which will give him about 40%. What is it doing right now? I'll do about 40-something%, but he can just go for the Foul Play, break that sub, and then maybe taunt him up now so he can't set up anymore. World Leader will lose this out in the end. I thought they would actually be breaking the sub, but Cresselia does not have the most health. He actually ended up going for a Roost, which means he's going to get a free Calm Mind off on the Cresselia. This has gone much further than I thought it would. Honestly, if that Gigalith was dead instead of the Tentacruel, this would have been much different, because the Tentacruel could literally stand here as last Pokemon. With the way, if this, wow, that did, oh, he went to +2, right. I was going to say, it doesn't do 40-something. Oh my god, there's questions left and right I have. If the Tentacruel was alive and the Crawdaunt was played that way, where it went greedy against the Freeze, and then he's left with this against the Tentacruel, yes, he's got the burn on him, but Haze just keeps him to the point where he can maybe try and do something to get rid of that sub. But I don't know, I think just the moment he let his Tentacruel get burned, it was over. And I don't understand, because then I thought it was over because he was able to kill it off, but unfortunately Foul Play does not break the sub. Misses the Stone Edge again. This is a disaster for both, I think. Honestly, I'm going to just flat out say that. Stone Edge is not going to break, and we saw it did under 25% last time, so it is going to take 2 Stone Edge hits. And how many Stone Edges does he have left? None. Can't go for Earthquake. Maybe has Explosion at this point. He actually has Heavy Slam. Oh shit, that does a lot of damage. Not really, but Cresselia and him are both heavy. He's going to try and get something done here. I think he just subs up again because he has the Moonlights. And now he just goes for the sub, because the thing is, I don't think the Sidrai can make it through. And if he was slower than a Crawdaunt, he's going to be slower than the Cresselia, yeah. That's +4. Doesn't actually end up killing. I'm surprised. Spear Shackles does come through. Does not show that he has the Ghostinium Z or the Deciduum Z. And yeah, he just outspeeds. I think he just outspeeds and kills here. He just has to go for the kill. He can't keep losing HP like that. Just go for the kill. As we actually see the Giggle is switched out again. Yeah, he ends up trying to go for the kill, but this thing is exposed. But it doesn't matter. Custap Berry is not a thing, nor will we ever see it because he's already using... What's it called? He's already told to buy the leftovers, and he's not carrying anything else. Yeah, Project's just gonna, I think... Oh, wait, actually, he cannot Moonlight as much, but it doesn't matter. Any health that he can take on the Cresselia is fine. At this point, he just sets up the +6 once he's safe behind a sub. He's got 8 more of them. He'll feel perfectly fine. This is Project's game. And oh man, there's... It's sketchy with what happened. A crit doesn't even kill it. That's ridiculous. That means it's doing under 17% damage. What a mess of a game, unfortunately. For both, actually, because Project going for that really, really greedy DD setup. But then you also see the likes of World Leader sacking off literally the thing that would have stopped all this. Without the burn, he was fine. I'm harping on it too much. I do apologize, but what else am I supposed to do? I'm a commentator. I'm supposed to hop. But yeah, now he just sets up. He's at +6. It's over. It's GG. You can hope to God that a misclick happens outside of Project. And it did? Oh, no. Hopes for a misclick again? I feel like Project is definitely taking his time to click this move. As the Gigalith now comes in, and this is wait. Oh! Oh my god, I wasn't even paying attention to... Wait a minute. Oh my god. He actually I did not pay attention to that. He actually taunted him, and he ran out of Ice Beams, which means he's left with Struggle? Oh my god, World Leader took it in the end. Whoa, hold on. Because now, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I'm not even thinking about that prospect because I'm sitting here going, oh, well, he's basically going to sweep him with +6, but he has stalled him out so long that all he has to do now is drop the taunt. And because he even went for that, he's dead. Unbelievable. This is insane. World Leader just keeping it. Oh my god. You know, I'm not used to this mono attacking set, but ladies and gentlemen, with something that flew under the radar after me checking and talking about running out of Ice Beam PowerPoints, it actually happened. And World Leader takes the 2-0 on the week. Insane. Wow. Gotta say, I really... Oh my god, let's get more music in here. Nope, different music. There we go. I gotta say, it wasn't looking good for either player. That's my analysis of that game. I just don't know. Today was full of almost 2-0s, except for the first match of the day between Boston Barretics and Atlanta Kilo Conquerors. You know, and I made the mention that part of that weakness is running out of Ice Beams. It actually happens. And that's what ends up happening. Alright, well, at the end of the week, let's take a look at what the scores are actually looking like. I kind of have to do this, don't I? Tee. At the end of the week, we are looking at a 3-way tie only now. At the top of the standings, the Sarasota Sweetcoons, W. Wellington, and Pichu Warriors all taking a 2-0 in week 1 and 2, sitting up there with 6 points. Tie for 4th between the Alaskan Arachnids and the Stockton Thunderous at 3 apiece. World Leader still representing that weather war. The Okeechobee Toros, the Boston Barretics, the QB Destroyers, and the Lanakila Conquerors all sitting with 1 point apiece, looking for that last playoff spot. 7 weeks from now, of course. They have tons of time. And unfortunately, Stock Powered Sky Shock still yet to gain a point. Leaves us to what is going to happen next week. I can't comment. I don't know. I'm so confused. Either way, boys, we will be starting with the Boston Barretics versus the Stock Powered Sky Sharks next week, followed up by the Pichu Warriors versus the Kyubi Destroyers. That should be definitely an interesting one. The Okeechobee Toros versus the Sarasota Sweetcoons, W. Wellington versus the Stockton Thunderous, and the Lanakila Conquerors versus the Alaskan Arachnids. Match to watch on that week, I think, will definitely be this. Will be this one right here: the Okeechobee Toros versus the Sarasota Sweetcoons. Based on what happened today, where we see kind of the opposite again of what happened between Project and Sarasota Sweetcoons before, where Project again pulling out a win condition that didn't end up working for him, but showed dominance in a game. And then, unfortunately, getting trolled there in the end of Game 2. But Sarasota Sweetcoons looking pretty decent right now. Taking good strides with their team and just making it good enough for them. So, we'll just see how it's going to go. I feel really bad because it usually takes me a few weeks to get used to everybody's team. So, I kind of think, like, what do they do? And I'm getting too lost in the actual game to analyze and to commentate at the same time is extremely difficult for me. So, either way, though. Right, he was the one with the Leafeon. It looks sketchy in most of the wins today, except for the beginning of the day, where you know there were a lot of abuse of plays. But in the end, I mean, if we gotta look at two guys, right? The Pichu Warriors getting shooken up there in Game 2, whereas last week it was Game 1, but ends up just pulling it out nice and smooth. And then Wellington, Ivan just cleaning house, knew exactly what he wanted to do against the QB Destroyers, and just goes from there. I mean, it's nothing It's nothing against Darkness. It was just, like, Ivan just had such a team that just Darkness gets nothing done with it, so ends up scoring it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try something different this time, because by the end, I feel really bad, because not only do I miss certain strategies in games, I also cannot just give you a decent explanation of each team the night of when we switch over to the new battlers. So when we see these battles, it's difficult for me to just look at Wellington's team and Thunderous' team and go, oh yeah, this is what you should be looking out for. I like to actually take the time and actually, like, analyze the themes and have a decent idea of what I want to say. As you can tell, my words are also slowly failing me. So, rather than bumbling around and trying to create a constructive and well-thought-out analysis, we're going to do the analysis at the beginning of each battle week. That way, I know I try to give you guys advice on how to battle each other week by week, the week before you're going to go into it, but it's going to be easier for me just to take the time to actually look it over, like the Tuesday or the Wednesday before, actually get an idea of what's going on, and then give you guys at least a decent analysis based on what could be built between the teams. So that's where we're going to leave it tonight. Thank you very much for joining me on Season 4, Week 2 of the Pro Poke. We'll be back next Wednesday. That is March the 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You guys have been fantastic. Of course, I will leave it open for you guys to put in your final new bits if you want to support your teams for the most valuable Pokemaster Award. You can do that in the bottom right corner of the video player with your Twitch extension, using those well-earned new bits either by showing up to the channel or just by, just by gambling. I said those in the wrong order. I suck at words sometimes. I hate it. I like public speaking, but I suck at words. How does that work? Anyways, ooh, God. There we go. But yeah, that's going to be it for tonight, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, for more Nuzlocking action. Until then, guys, see you in Week 3 in a week. Enjoy. Good luck to our coaches. Also, just as a couple of final notes, trades must be in by Friday. They are announced Saturday, and you must have it on time. And it must be legitimized by me and accepted by me before you assume you have the Pokemon, because people at the lower end, if they want to take the same Pokemon as you, they get first priority. If it's a tie, we work something out. It's first come, first serve. That's how it is. And also, as a final note, schedule changes. No stream this Friday. And Monday night streams have been changed from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. and will be going a half an hour shorter. So, there you go. Till then, guys, enjoy. See you tomorrow night.